Hello everyone, I'm Rohit and this is a complete new series I'm going to start called Process Automation, which will mainly contains that Flow Designer and Integration Hub. So whoever does not know about Flow Designer or they know basic about the Flow Designer and they want to know more about the Flow Designer and Integration Hub, they should watch this series. Also, before starting this series, I am assuming that you have seen my ServiceNow admin series as well as you have a basic knowledge about scripting. Although this series does not have much scripting, but there will be certain area where we are going to write some small scripting part. So I am assuming that you have admin knowledge and as well as you have basic scripting knowledge. So first thing we are going to talk about in today's class that what is the flow designer and where we can use that. So this is our day one sessions, and in this session we'll talk about that what is the flow designer. So Flow Designer is a graphical representation that is mainly designed for the process owner with the low code and much more flexibility, where we can reuse our component like action in multiple flow. So this is, that similar kind of a workflow where we can use our actions to the multiple flow for automate our process. Now, second question is that where we can use this flow designer. So as we know that the flow designer is something similar to the workflow. So ServiceNow recommending that not to use workflow anymore for the new catalog item, use the flow designer for the new catalog item. There are some bugs in the flow designer, but still ServiceNow recommending that for new catalog item, use the flow designer. But they are not going to stop the workflow soon, but they are recommending to use the flow designer. So first thing or first use case is that in the new catalog item, we can use the flow designer. Secondly, for automation, we can do the flow designer, like where we have the business rule, where we have any kind of server script, there we can use the flow designer. For example, business rule, um, script action, all those cases we can use this flow designer. Even we can use that in inbound email actions. We'll come that point. Next, the schedule. So as we know that, as I said that, it is used for the background scripting or the server scripting. The schedule job also or schedule any scripting is also part of this flow designer. You can schedule particular actions, particular flow for daily, periodically, or certain time, and you can run that. And then the integration hub, like ServiceNow is known for the automation, and there are many integrations are present for the ServiceNow. So installing integration hub, and there are many out-of-box spoke. With the help of out-of-box spoke, we can integrate with third-party application called Jira, Slack, and there are n number of applications are there. We can integrate with that help of integration hub. Also, I'll show you that how the flow designer looks like and what are the components are there under the flow designer. So if you see that this is the brand new ServiceNow instance, and here if you have admin access in the left navigation, you can search with that flow designer. So if you are running that flow designer first time, or if you're using the flow designer first time, you can directly search with the flow designer. If you see this flow designer, this module fall under process automation. So if you type either process automation or the flow designer, this will be shown like flow designer. If you click here, it will open a new UI page which contains all these flow details. Again, this flow designer loading, during the load, it takes some little time and extra bandwidth. So keep patient and let open this flow designer page. So right now I am in the Vancouver release, and who already seen the flow designer page, you can see there are little changes in the flow designer pages, and there are many more options added into the flow designer. The first thing is the flow. We'll discuss all this component later even. So this is the flow. Here we have the subflow, then we have actions, and then we have the execution. And then we have the connection, which is mainly designed for the integration or integration hub. So at that moment, we need the flow, we need the subflow, we need the actions, and then execution. So these are the component or 4 tabs we needed at that moment. I'll show you, or I'll open a flow, sample flow, to show you that how the flow designer looks like that. So here, if I search with that, for example, I am searching that incident, I want to open the incident flow to explain you or to show you the simple one. And let's say that I am opening that last one, for example, okay? So if you see that, the first thing we have the trigger condition, like when this flow should be triggered. So flow will be triggered based on certain condition. and we have various action. So this action will do different job. So one action have a one job, per action have per job. Some action job is to collect the data, some action have job to post some message, some action is job to delete some data. So this is how this works. So in short, the flow designer have three components. The first component is the trigger, second component is the actions, and then third component is the flow logic. So flow logic is like a based on which conditions. Let's say that if the incident state is resolved, then only we want to post a message. If the incident state is in progress, I don't want to post the message. So this will be a conditional block. So we can put the condition, we can put the action, we can put the trigger. And as I said that each action have a separate part or separate task to do that. Now the next question is that how the flow designer can be activated. So by default, ServiceNow activated the flow designer in your system. You don't need to do any action for that. So by default in your system, the flow designer will be activated. You can start using that. But before you move this flow designer to the production, make sure you check with that your accounts team that how many actions or execution permissions or quota you have for the ServiceNow instance. So that's it for today. In our next upcoming video, we'll discuss about how we can create a new flow designer for the simple catalog item, and we'll discuss furthermore all these flow designer related topic one by one. Hello everyone, this is the day 2 of the flow designer training. In this day, we'll talk about that how we can use the flow designer for a particular catalog item. So in the past day, we talked about that what is the flow designer, how we can use the flow designer and the flow designer basic component. In these sessions, we'll talk about that how we can create a flow designer for supporting catalog item. So for that, what are the steps we are going to do that? We are going to take the 6 steps. The first steps is that we are going to create a simple catalog item, and then we are going to attach this flow designer to the particular catalog item. Then we'll get the catalog item variable, and based on the certain conditions, we are going to generate some approvals. We are going to set the stages, and then finally we are going to generate a catalog task. Once that catalog task is completed, we are going to end this flow designer. So this is our task today. So let's go to the ServiceNow instance and complete this task. So this is our developer instance. The first thing is that we are going to create a catalog item. To create a catalog item, I am going to scat item, and I am going to fast forward, because in this catalog item, we are just creating a simple catalog item with one single variable called yes, no. So this is the catalog item, and in this catalog item, I do have only one variable which called the manager approval required. So which is yes and no, this type of drop down value. So what is our requirement is that, let's say that somebody selected that yes, what will be happen? It will go for the manager approval, and once the manager approve, it will go for the catalog task creation. If somebody selected no, what will be happen? It will skip the manager approval and it will go for that direct catalog task creation. So let's build that into our flow designer. So first thing, I'll go to this flow designer, and here you can see that we have options called create new options under this flow tab. So if you are in a different tabs or anywhere, you can go to the flow tabs, and then here you can click the create new button. Once you click the create new button, you have a 4 option: flow, subflow, action, data stream. For the time being, we are creating a new flow. We'll select the flow. Once I select the flow, you can see there is a pop-up came up. Let's say that I'll say that demo class flow, something like that. Anything you can put that meaningful name. So I'll put that demo class flow. Now here you can put the description for more meaningful. Application will be global application or whatever application you want. The protection which help you to make it read only for next environment or not. So I'm not changing anything. Here we have a one option called run as, and you can select, you can see there is 2 options. One is the user who initiated the session or system user. It means that who raised the request, the flow will be run on behalf of them, or else the system user. Normally the workflow run as a system user, so I'll select the system user. Depending on your use case, you can change that even. So I'll click the submit button. So once I click that, you can see that our flow is created with the name of called demo class flow, which is right now in inactive state. We have to select the trigger condition. What is our trigger condition? Whenever this catalog item demo flow designer will be ordered, at that moment this flow should be triggered and it should perform certain action. So first thing is that we'll select the trigger condition. I'll click the add trigger, and here we have options called application. We'll select the application, and then I'll select the service catalog. Once you select the service catalog, you have advanced options, and here you can change this type, but it is not necessary, so I'm not changing anything. I'll simply click done. So we have defined the trigger condition. Now we have to define that what we need to be performed, right? What actions we are going to perform. First thing that we have to check what is the value user selected, like user selected yes or no. Based on that, we should do some action. To get this variable value, we have to click this plus sign, and then you can see once you click the plus sign, you have a three option: flow, actions, and flow logic. So we'll click the actions, and once we click the action, you can see there are multiple spoke already installed, and based on that, there are certain actions. So these are the actions created by out-of-box ServiceNow. So if I select the ServiceNow core, you can see these are the actions which is provided by ServiceNow by default. So if I go to this all these actions, we need to find out that get variable option. So let's see, under this service catalog module, you can see the get catalog variable option is there. I'll select this get catalog variable actions. Once we selected the get variable catalog actions, the first mandatory field is that submitted request. So we need to select that submitted request, which is nothing but the first trigger condition. So I'll click this pillar icon and then select this call service catalog, and then I'll select this requested item one. So this mandatory things gone. Now we have to select the template, or maybe for which catalog item we are building this flow. So our case, the catalog item name is called demo flow designer. We'll copy this one and paste under this here. Once I selected that, all the variables or variable set attached to this catalog item will be visible. For our case, we have only one variable which is showing right now, and we have to move this from available to the selected, whatever variables we need to be used in our action. So I'll select the manager approval, and from the available I'll change to the selected. So it means that this variable is right now available in our flow. Now we have to check the value, right? We have to check that what is the value of this one. If it is yes, we should generate approval. If it is no, we should bypass that, right? So let's click here, and then I'll select the flow logic, and here you can see once you select the flow logic, there are various flow logic is there, like if, else if, else, for each, do following, until, do parallel following, make decisions, wait for a duration, end flow, dynamic flow, all these are available. So for the time being, we'll select the if logic. So we are checking that the value is yes or no, right? How do we get that? So from here, from these actions, we'll get the variable value called yes or no, right? For that, I'll click this pillar icon and then click get variables, and you can see I am able to select this manager approval variable, and which is nothing but return true or false or yes or no. So I'll select this manager approval variable, and here is the value yes or no is showing. So let's say hypothetically, if it is yes, what will be happen? It should go to the manager approval, right? So I'll click done, and then what will be happen? It should go to the manager approval. So what I'll do a manager approval. If it is not yes, so if it is not yes, what will be happen? It should generate a catalog task, right? So I'll click again here and then go to the flow logic and select else, and you can see that the top I'm getting the variable. First it is yes, it should run this block. If it is else, it should run this block. So this is how I can define that. Okay, so let's say that in the first case, if it is yes, I should generate a manager approval, right? So I'll click this plus sign and go to these actions, and I need to generate a approval. So I'll go ask for approval this action. Under this ServiceNow code, I'll select ask for approval. And once I select this ask for approval, you can see that I need to be select the record. For which record I want to generate the approval. I want to generate the approval for this SCREQ item table. So I will select this from here, trigger and requested item. So once I selected that, by default you can see SCREQ item table is selected. Now here is the thing, we need to be define that approval rule, like all these users should be approved or any particular user should be approved. Let's say that I'm saying that it's a manager approval, so it means that definitely the approval will be one person, and if that person approve, it should go further, right? I'll select the choose approval rule, and then here I'll select anyone approves. It doesn't matter actually, either anyone approve or all the member approves, right? So here, once we selected that, what will be happen? Let's say that I want to generate a manager approval, right? So how do we know that who is the manager or to whom manager approval should be generated? Whoever is created, their manager should be go for the approval, right? So I'll select there here. I mean, I can select particular user. Let's say that it has to be a particular user. Let's say that able tutor needs to be approved. I can select that, or else from here .org we can do and select the particular user. For the time being, I have selected the fixed user called able tutor, and that able tutor has to be approved, right? So I ask for the approval. Okay. So what happened once this flow will be executed, it will go for ask for approval and it will be hold or it will be pause. Okay. Once somebody approve, the certain thing will be happen. If it is rejected, something will be happen. So let's say that I have to check that somebody approved or not, right? If it is rejected, some different thing will be happen. If it is approved, some different thing should be happen, right? So I'll go here and then click again flow logic, and then I'll select if. What is if? If manager approve. So I can put the notation also for better understanding, right? Here I'll select what I am going to check. I am going to check that manager is approved or not. So when or which step the approval action happen, ask for approval is the actual section where approval happen. So I'll select the ask for approval, and then I will select that approval state. What is the approval state? Is it approved or is it rejected or is it, what happens actually? I can check that. So I'll select that, is it approved? If it is approved, I want to do certain thing, right? If it is not approved, I want to do certain thing, right? So I'm going to select that if it is approved, then I want to generate a catalog task, right? So if it is approved, I want to generate a catalog task. So I'll go select again ServiceNow core and scroll down under the service catalog. You will be able to see that create catalog task. I'll select that. And here we can select again this service catalog. What should be that, on which table this task will be generated? Under SC_task table. What should be the short description? Let's say that test catalog task. This should be the short description. And if you want to set the assignment group, you can select that assignment group. Let's say that I want to set the assignment group called something called database team. So the database team will be assignment group. And if you want to select all this variable to be visible there, we need to be select the catalog item. So let's say that our catalog item name is called demo flow designer, and this variable should be visible under catalog task. We can select that and simply done. If you see this flow high level, this flow is triggering based on the service catalog, and then first we are getting the variables. If the variables value is yes, we are going for approvals. If these variables let's say that no, then here we need to define the condition. So if it is no, then we are going to generate a catalog task also. So simply you can click that plus sign and then we can bring this to here. So let's say that if it is no, then also we are going to generating the catalog task. So if it is yes, we are asking for approvals, and then somebody approved, then we are generating catalog task. If it is no, then we are generating the catalog task. Let's say that manager rejected. So let's say manager is approved, that's fine, we are generating the catalog task. If manager rejected, what will be happen? We are going to change these states. Let's say that close incomplete, that state we are going to update that. For that, what we can do, we can have options called update record. We can select that here, and once we select this update record, we can select this from this data pillar. We can select this requested item, and then here we can say that state is close incomplete. Let's understand one more time. Catalog item race, we are getting variable. If it is manager approval, yes, then it will go for approval. If it is no, it will directly generate a catalog task. Once our approval is approved, what will be happen? It will generate a catalog task. Let's say that approver did not approve. It will be set as a close incomplete. And once our catalog task is done or catalog task is completed, we can just end our flow. So we'll select that flow logic, and then we can select that end flow. We can define that. So this is our flow end process. Similarly here, this is our flow end. We can select that flow end, and here we can also select that flow end. Okay, all right, so our flow is defined here. We can just activate that flow. We'll click that activate, and this flow will be activated. Once flow is activated, you can copy this flow name and go back to this catalog item and then attach this flow to this catalog item. So we'll configure this, go back to this process engine, and here we can select this flow name and simply save that. Now, once we try it right now, or once we try to order this catalog item, we will be able to see this flow is executed. So first thing, we are selecting the manager approval is yes, and simply click order now. It's generate request. Under this request, we should have RITM. And this RITM actually pick the flow. And you can see it's generate first a manager approval. We have statically set that able tutor. Once we approve that, it will generate a catalog task. So let's approve that. We'll go here and then we'll approve that. Before approve that, you can see that the stage is called request approve. Before approve that, you can see that the stage is called request approve. We can also update the stage from the workflow also. I'll show you that. So let's say that I'm going to approve that request first. So once we approve that, as per our expectation, it should generate a catalog task. So we just approve that and it should generate a catalog task. You can see the database catalog task is generated, and stage is again the same stage, right? So the stage is, so RITM stage did not update it. We can update also the stage. I'll show you that. And let's say that once we close complete this task, so this is the task which is generated, and you can see, and we can simply close this task. So once we close this task, you will be able to see that if I update that, refresh that RITM, let's see what is happening. Still our RITM did not close completed, right? So we just need to be update that. So two things. First, we need to be update the stage, and we need to be close complete our, here the stage should be close complete, right? So that we need to do that. We'll go back to the flow designer again. Here we can click these options and then click the flow stages, and then we can define the stages. We can select that, and then from the template we can add the stages. So we'll select the request item and click add stages, and you can see these are the stages which is available for that requested item. Even if you want, you can add your own stage. So I'll simply save that. And our criteria is that whenever somebody asks for the approval, it should be, stage should be set as called, you can see here we can set the stage. the stage should be for request approval. So request or maybe waiting for approval. So whenever it will go for ask for approval, it will be waiting for approval. And then whenever it will go for, let's say that whenever it is generate a catalog task, so it should be called fulfillment stage. And after this completion of that, we should, complete that, right? So the stage should be, complete stage. And here we should add something called another extra. Here we can just select that actions called update record. So we'll select that called update record here. And then we'll update that called close complete. So we'll select here trigger condition requested item. And then our state should be close complete, done. And then this stage will be, let's say that our stage should be complete stage. So we'll select that complete. And here after that we should be end our flow. So we'll say that end flow and activate again. So every time you change that, you should activate that for the latest changes. So our flow is updated right now. What will be happen whenever our flow will be generated or selected as a yes, it will go for that approval, ask for approval. And once it is go for ask for approval, the stage will be waiting for approval. Then it will go to the catalog task, and then it will be, after that it will be close complete. Let's go back and raise the request here. Again, I'm going to generate this with the yes, and once we click order, it should generate a request. Go back to the RITM. And here we go. You can see the stage is right now waiting for approval. It's showing. And then it's generate a approval. We'll approve that first approval. Once we approve that, it should generate a catalog task. So you click that, it's generate a catalog task. We'll close this catalog task. Once it is closed, it should update the state equal to close complete. And so once we select that close complete, you can see stage is completed and state is close complete. The way we see the workflow context, you can see the flow context. You can click this flow context and you will be able to see that what is happening into the flow. You can see that. And once it is loaded, you can see that it's not showing anything because there is a property that needs to be updated. Once this property is updated, then only you will be able to see that actually the flow context. So what I'll do, I'll copy this property name and go to this sys properties table. And update this property value to see the flow context. So I'll put this, and you can see once we open that, there are it is a choice type. Right now the value is off. You can select the flow, you can select action, you can select on, or you can select that trace. So anything you can select that. So I'll select that at that moment on and save that to see the flow. So I have selected that on, and if I refresh that, let's see what happens. I think I need to raise the new request, or let's see, is it showing for old record also? You can see, so I need to raise a new request. So I'll go back here and I am going to raise a new request and see this is going to be show that flow context or not. So I'll click that open record, and this time I'll select no. As per, if I selected no, it should not generate any approvals. So order now, and then I'll open the RITM. And so you can see this is the RITM which directly generated the catalog task. It did not generate approval because we selected no. We click the flow context and it will show the context or which part is executed, which did not. So you can see The flow is right now waiting state. The first thing is that get catalog variable. This is completed, and then we have a one check where it should check that yes or no evaluate condition. This is false, so it is did not go to the yes part. It go to the else part, and under the else part we have options called create a catalog task, which is right now waiting stage. Once we completed this, let's say that I completed this task, this flow will be ended. So let's refresh that. You can see this flow is completed right now. So this way you can design your flow designer. Still, if you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, I'm Rohit and this is the day 3 of the flow designer training. In this day we'll talk about that how we can create a flow, and that flow can be act like a BR. So first we have an incident. That incident have a multiple task. So what will be happen? Normally we create a BR for this kind of scenario where if the parent incident close, all the child incident can be closed. Through the BR we normally achieve that. But in today's sessions we'll show you that how we can create a flow, and that flow can handle like a BR. So let's go back to our ServiceNow instance and show you that. So if you see that this is my ServiceNow instance, and in this ServiceNow instance I created an incident, and this is the parent incident, and this parent incident have this 6 child incident. So normally what we did, actually we created a business rule. That business rule can close all these child incident once the parent incident close, right? So what we did, normally we go to the business rule and create a new business rule with the condition like if parent incident or the incident state changes to the close or resolve, at that moment we close all our child incident, right? So all the child details we normally did that, right? So this requirement we can even fulfill through our flow designer. So let's go back to the flow designer and fulfill this requirement. Type that flow designer and open this flow designer module. So as you know that the flow designer works like a workflow. So we can put the condition, the table is the incident, and when this flow will be attached, whenever our incident will be resolved state, at that moment that flow can be attached. So this condition we can apply in our flow. So let's go back to the flow designer one more time. So this is our flow designer screen. Here we can click the create new button, and then here we can create a new flow. So let's say that close or resolve child incident. So this is the flow name we have mentioned. Here I'm putting that user who initiated the sessions, or else you can put the system user depending on your use case. I'm not doing anything. I'll click submit button. So it means that the flow is created. Like our workflow, we normally put the trigger condition when the workflow will be attached, right? Similarly, in the flow or maybe in the business rule, we can mention that when our business rule will be attached, condition based, right? So similarly, in the trigger condition, we can put, condition. The first condition is that I'm going to select the record, and then here I'm going to select that update. So you can like insert or update, you can select like a business rule. Similarly here you can select that update. Now once you select the update, it will ask for that for which table you want to attach this flow. So let's say that our case, our table name is the incident, so we'll select that table name is the incident. Now here we have to be select the filter. What is the filter? So filter is that whenever the incident will be in the resolved state, that is our filter, right? So we'll select the filter is that state, right? And here we can select different things. So let's say that state changes to resolve. So whenever the incident will be updated and then incident state will be changes to resolve, at that moment this flow will be attached, right? And what we are saying that here we have the run trigger. So it will be run once for unique change, only if not currently running anything, or every update. You can depending on situation you can select that. I'm not changing anything, I'll just click done. So it means that our flow will be run or flow will be attached whenever the incident will be updated and then incident state will be resolved. So this is our condition. So that's the first condition. Now we have the flow logic. So here what we are trying to do that first we'll do that, we'll collect all these child incident, right? So we'll collect all these child incident and we'll resolve all these child incident one by one. So first we need to find out all these child incident. To find out this record, we have lookup records action. So if you click actions and if you go to the ServiceNow core, you will be able to see a few important actions like create record, create task, delete record. So like that, send email. So we have one update records you will be able to see. So to get that, normally we have that get attachment and then we have lookup attachment. So if you search here called lookup, so you can search with the lookup, you will be able to find out the lookup records. If you go to the ServiceNow code, you have a lookup record and then lookup records. So lookup record will return you the only one record, but lookup records will give you the multiple records. So what we are looking for? We are looking for multiple child incident, right? So we are looking for multiple child incidents. Once the parent incident like this incident will be closed, I need to find out all the child incident and set the state equal to resolve, right? So for that, what we'll do, we'll select the lookup records. Once we select the lookup records, we need to define the various information like table. What should be the table of that child record that we are looking for? The table is pretty much simple, that it will be incident table, right? And then once you select that incident table, what will be the filter, right? So what all the filter will be? The filter will be, there is a field called parent incident. The parent incident will be this incident, this current incident, right? So we'll select that filter equal to parent incident is the incident which state will be changes to 6. So we'll click here called toggle button, trigger record, and then parent incident record. So I'm saying that I am looking for incident which is the parent incident is the current incident. That's it, right? And then here we can set the order by A to Z. I'm not doing anything. So I need to find out all these records or all this incident. Once I find out, I need to be updated. So first we need to go through. So if you normally write the code for incident, what we do the while record. Under this while record, we do that gr.next. So similarly here we'll click here and then click flow logic and we'll select the for each. So we'll find out each record one by one and then update there. Okay, so I'll click here and then select lookup records and then incident record. What will be happen? Let's say that I have 10 or 20 incident. So it will go through that one by one each incident and do some action. What action I am going to perform? I want to update their state. So let's say that I will go here and then select the update record. Which record I want to update? The record which will become from this lookup and then for each. So I'll click here pillar and then click the for each and incident record. Okay, so this incident, so first it will find out all this child incident. After that, it will go through all this incident one by one and then I will update that. What will update that? Will update the state. State equal to the state whichever is going to be set to the parent state. Definitely it's a resolve. So I can do hard coded or anything. So let's say that I am going to hard code that to resolve. Okay. Once we update or once we resolve the incident, there are few fields are mandatory. First field is the close resolution code and resolution node. These two fields are mandatory. So we need to be set these two field value also. Let's say that I will set the resolution code. This resolution code either I can hard code it or I want to update from the parent or I want to get that value from the parent. How can we get that from the parent? Parent is nothing but this is the record which is the parent record, right? So we can get from there. So we'll click here, trigger record, incident record, and here we can say that resolution node. As well as we are going to update that. So is it updated? Here I'll search with the resolution row. Resolution code. So you can see it's mapped, that resolution code will map with the parent resolution code. Similarly, I will update the resolution node. So resolution node will be mapped with, either you can put hard coded value, or else from the parent record we can pick that resolution node and map that. It's done. So it means that what we are doing, we are going to first find out that incident trigger condition is the incident state is changes to 6. It means that whenever the incident will be resolved, then we will find out all these child incident. After finding out all these child incident, we are going through this each and every incident and then updating their incident record. Let's save that and activate this flow. Save, and we'll simply click activate. Once we activate that, it means that this flow is activated, and then if we update our incident to resolve state, all these child incident should be resolved, and that should be done by that flow designer, not by business tool or any other. Let's see. Now I'll change this state parent. This is the parent incident, and this is the child. These all are the child incidents. So let's update there, and you can see this child incident state is right now in the new. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just change their state to resolve and save that. So once we save that, you can see there are mandatory field. So we'll select that. Let's say that known error and then testing, something like that. I'm putting that and save that. So this value and this value should be copied to the child incident also. Let's save that. Once we save that, our flow should be triggered, and then it should go through and update each and every incident state to resolve. You can see all these child incident got resolved. And if I open any of this child incident, this value, known error and testing value, should be copied from there, our parent incident. So let's see. So known error and then testing value is copied from there. So you can see this is copied from there. So in that case, using this flow mechanism, we don't need to write any single line of code for implementing small or simple logic. We don't need to write any code. So using the flow designer, we can implement our business logic. So that's it for today. In our upcoming video, we'll talk more about the flow designer. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, I'm Rohit, and this is the day 4 of the flow designer training. In this day, we'll talk about that how you can create a flow like a workflow. So if you see this documentation, the documentation is saying that the workflow editor is a legacy product to maintain existing workflow already in the production. So it means that the workflow is a legacy product right now. So previously it was very useful. Most of the places it was used to for the workflow, but it's now a legacy product. And whatever is the existing workflow for that, it will work as it is. But for new things, we should explore the flow designer or the process automation. If you see that for new use case and the workflow, use the following ServiceNow application. So either we should use the flow designer or the process automation for new flow or new use cases. So today I'm going to create a new flow, so which will be act like a workflow, and all the feature I'm going to include in that flow. So let's go to the ServiceNow and see how it works. So this is my ServiceNow instance, and if you type that workflow in left navigation, and if you go to this workflow editor here, the similar kind of message you are getting here, like workflow editor is a legacy product to maintain existing workflow already in the production. So whatever is in the production, that is for the workflow. For new thing, we should explore the flow designer or the process automation. So for whenever you are trying to create a new workflow, think before you create that. It might be deprecated after few version release. So we should always explore that flow designer and then process automation. So let's go back to our problem management module first. So if I go back to the problem management, so let's say that I'm going to create a new problem. So what we are going to develop that we have to be understand first. So what I'm going to develop that, the first thing, somebody is going to coming here and they're going to select that first reported by this task, and then fill all these mandatory information and then submit that. So this will be the new state. At the moment that problem will be created, we can attach our flow, or maybe whenever somebody move this problem to assess state, at that moment we can attach our workflow, and then we can generate a approval for that. So we can generate a approval for this problem management. So here we have the approval tab. We'll generate a approval for this problem management. Once somebody approve that, the problem will be moved to the root cause analysis. So once somebody, approve that, it will be moved to the root cause analysis. And then from the root cause analysis, somebody has to be fill all this information like all these details, and they have to be manually moved to the fix in progress. So this is a manual step where they have to be fill this all this information like what is the root cause, what is the fixed node, they have to be mentioned, and they will move to the fixed in progress. So once it is moved to the fixed in progress, somebody is going to fix in production or in UAT or trend, wherever it is, and then they should be moved to the resolve state. Once it is moved to the resolve state, we are going to send a notification to this incident caller. We inform that the problem is resolved, and you can verify this problem, and your problem should be resolved. That statement we are going to send as a notification, as well as we are going to close this incident, or we are going to resolve this incident, that this incident is resolved by this problem. So this is going to be our complete flow structure at that moment. So let's go back to the flow designer and design for it. So very first thing is that I'm going to type that flow design in the left navigation, and I'm opening this flow here. So this is our flow designer module. In this flow designer module, I'm going to create a new flow. So I'll click that create new, and then I'm going to click that flow here. So I'm going to create a new flow. Let's say that I'm going to put the flow name equal to problem. Here we can put any description. I'm not putting anything. Now here we can say that the flow will be run as a user sessions or the system session. So we'll select that the flow will be run as a user session. Here, if we want to define any role, we can put any call ITIL role. So this flow will be initiated for only ITIL user, that we can define that. All right, so I'll just click the submit. So we know that we have defined the flow name. We have defined that how the session will be like that, and we can skip this process. So this is the guided tour process. Now here we have to be define the trigger condition, when this flow will be triggered or when this flow will be attached, like a workflow. In the property we set the trigger condition or the attachment condition. Here we can define the trigger condition. The first thing is that whenever the record will be created, we can say, or whenever the record will be updated, we can say. So our case, if you see that if we want to attach this problem, if we want to attach this flow at the new state, we can select that flow is in created, or if you want to attach this flow into assess state, we have to be select that update condition. So here I'm just selecting that the update condition. So whenever the problem will be assessed at that moment, this problem will be this flow will be attached. Okay, so I will select that table equal to problem. Okay, so once we select the table equal to problem, on which state it should be attached, the state is nothing but the assess state. So I'll click this filter sign, and here I will say this condition called state, and here I'll say that assess state. So whenever the problem or this state will be assessed, that moment this flow should be attached. So this is our done. So we understand the trigger condition. Now let's understand that action. The moment this will be moved to the assess state, at that moment it should generate a approval. The moment the problem will be moved to the assess state, immediately the flow will be initiated, and at that moment it should generate a approval. So this is our criteria. So whenever this problem will be attached, we should send a approval. So we'll go to the actions, and then here we'll pick that approvals action. So here I'll go to the ServiceNow core and then ask for approval. Now question is that to whom we should send a approval. I'm going to send the approval whoever is the assigned to, because we know that in the assess state the assigned to is mandatory. So whenever this problem will be moved to the assess state, I'm going to send a approval to this assigned to person. So let's go back here and then click here called records. For which record we are going to generate approval? For problem record, and problem record is nothing but the trigger condition is the problem record. So we'll click the trigger condition and then select the problem record. Once we select that, we know that we have to be select a rule. So what is the rule? Rule is that anyone is approved or all the user is approved at that moment, it should do some action. So I'll select that anyone is approved. Here we have to select the who is the approver. The approver is nothing but the assigned to person of the problem record, right? So the whoever is the assigned to person, that will be our approver. So what I'll do, I'll go to the flow designer, and here we have a pillar sign. We'll click the pillar, we'll click the trigger record, we'll go to deep dive to the problem record, and here we have the assigned to field. So this assigned to person is going to be approve this record, right? So we'll click done. So whenever approval will be generated in this state, it will be wait for approval, and once somebody approve that, it go to the next step. So first we have to be verify that it's approved or not. So I'll go here, and then here I'll select the flow logic. The first is that I'll select the if condition. And what is that if condition? Is assigning approved. So this is the annotation purpose you can put for better understanding. I'll click that condition, click for ask for approval, and then what is the state, like is it approved or is it rejected? I can check that. So first thing I'll select that approved. So if it is approved, I'll do certain thing. So I'll click OK, and I'll do certain thing. Okay, I'll click in the bottom again call add action, and then I'll click that flow logic, and here I'll select the else. So if it is not approved, I'll do certain things. So if it is approved, I'll do these things. If it is not approved, I'll do this thing. I have defined that. So let's first understand that if it is rejected, what will be happen. In approval, if it is rejected, I'll move this flow to new state again. So this is my criteria. So once somebody click to this assess state and then rejected, it will move to the new state. That will be my criteria. So I'll click here, I'll select the action, and then we'll be able to find out that called update record. We'll look for that update record. This is the update record. And what I'll do, I'll update the state equal to new state. So if somebody rejected, I'll move the state to new state. So I'll click here, record, trigger record, problem record. And what field I want to update? I want to update the field called state. So I'll select the state. And what is the state? The state is the new state. So that's what I am trying to do. If I want to update the work notes, I can update also. So let's say that I will update also the work notes. So I can do that. So let's say that here I'll select the work notes. And I can put anything called rejected, something like that. Now, second thing is that if somebody approve, what will be happen? If it is approved, what I'll do, I'll move this state to the root cause analysis. Let's do that. So I'll click plus sign and then click this action, and then I'll click this update record again. I'll click this pillar, trigger record, problem record, and what is the state will be? What should be the state? The state should be, I'll select the state, and then state should be, what should be the state? The state should be root cause analysis. So it should go to the root cause analysis automatically. Once it is moved to the root cause analysis, we manually have to be done the root cause, and then we move to that fix in progress. And once this fix in progress is done, we'll have to be manually move to the resolve state. After it is reaching to the resolve state, what I'll do, I'll close this incident as well as I'll send a notification, right? So I have to be wait until this problem is reaching to the resolve state. Once it is resolved, then I can do certain things. So first thing, it has to be wait for resolve state. Once it is resolved, then I can close this incident and I can send the notification. So I'll go back to the flow designer. Here I can click the plus sign. I can click the action, and we have a action called wait for condition. We can select that wait for condition. We'll select that. Now, for which record it is going to be wait? So definitely it is going to be wait for the problem record. We are going to select that problem record. I'll select the problem record. For which condition it will be wait? So the condition is the state should be resolved state. Once it is resolved state, then it will go to the next step until unless it will be wait for that state. Here you can see the enable timeout. It means that let's say that it is wait for 4 hours and nobody approved that, then it will go to the next step. It won't be wait. So 4 hours is the maximum timeout time. After that it can be automatically rejected. That if we need it, we can do that. So at that moment I am not doing that. So I am saying that it will be wait for that resolve state. If I want to put some annotation, you can click the plus sign and then we can mention that wait. So now the next step is that we should close this or we should resolve this incident, right? And before resolving this incident, there are two fields is mandatory. One is the resolution code and another is the resolution note. So these two fields needs to be filled up and then state should be set as a result. So this is our criteria, right? To update these from this problem, first we have to query this task, because if you see that this is actually pointing to the task table. This field, this reference field is pointing to the task table, but this is in the incident form. These two fields are present to the incident form, right? So close code and close node, they are under the incident form. So if we are trying to update from the task, we won't be able to find out these two fields. So first thing what we'll do, we'll first query to the incident table with the sysID of this record, and then we'll update that. So we'll go back to the flow designer again. I'll click the plus sign, go to the action, and under this action, I will find out that lookup records, and after this I'll search with the table name. The table name is for us is the incident table. So I'll select that incident table and then condition. Here I will put the sysID is. I'll click the pillar icon. I'll click the trigger record. This is the problem record. From the problem record, I should go to the first reported by this field, and then here I should pick the sysID. So in this way, we'll look up this particular incident record. We can say that look up incident record to resolve. So this is the first record we'll look up, and once we get that, what we'll do, we'll update the record. To update that, we'll click again action. We'll click act here, and then I will select the update record. Once I select the update record, which record I should update? The record whichever found out by this lookup record. So I'll click this pillar icon. I'll select this lookup record and then incident record. So first thing what we want to set, we want to set the resolution code. So I'll say that resolution code, whatever is will be the resolution code. Let's say that I'll say resolve by problem, and then I will say add value and then set the resolution node, because these two fields are mandatory. So I'll say that resolved by, and then I want to put the problem number. So I'll select that lookup record, trigger record, problem record, and then here I'll find out the number. So in this way, what we can do, we can actually update, or we can actually resolve the incident. In the annotation, you can say that resolve incident. All right. So we have resolved the incident. Now what is the next step? The next step is that we should send a email notification. For that, we'll click the plus sign, action, and then ServiceNow core. Under that, we have the send email. You can see send email. You can select that. Once you select that, we can actually send the record or send the email. Now to whom we want to send? The caller of the incident, whoever is reported firstly, to whom or to that person I want to send the notification. For that reason, I'll click here and then I'll go to the lookup record, because lookup record is the actual incident record. We can deep dive and find out the caller. All right. Then what is the subject? We can say that the problem, and then we can pass the problem number if we want. We'll pick the problem number is, I can mention that is resolve against, we can even mention the incident number. So we'll say the lookup incident record, and we can pick that. So this way we can say the subject, and then after that here I can mention the body. Then if I want to pick that incident caller name, I can again click this pillar, lookup record, incident record, and then caller. Then I can go further and then find out the name. So name. So then I can say that the incident and problem resolved. So whatever you make sense, you can put that. And this way we can send the notification. Finally, you can end the flow if you want to, or else it will be automatically ended. So I'll just activate this flow. So click that and activate this flow. So in this way, our flow is created and flow is activated. Now let's go back to the problem record. I'll create a new problem. So I'll say that create. First thing first, I'll put that first reported by. So I'll pick this number. Again, any number you can put actually. So I will put this number and say that flow testing. Okay, and I'll save that. So as per our rules, whenever the problem will be created, it won't attach our flow until unless it's moved to the access state. So this flow is created, and if I see there is no flow is attached, how can we check that? We can go to this here and go to the execution. And if you see that 2 hours ago only the flow is executed, there is no other flow is executed right now. Now once we move this flow to access state, it should be attached to the flow. So I'll click the assess, and during the assess state, assign to field is mandatory. So let's pick the assign to. I'll select that assign to equal to problem administrator and click OK. So once we click OK, the problem has to be moved to that our assess state, and as per our expectation, it should generate a approval. So let's see that and go back here and let's see. You can see one approval is generated, and if I go back to the flow designer and again refresh this execution tab, you can see the problem management flow is initiated. We can click here and then track that. So you can see right now on average it is in waiting state. This condition is satisfied, but it is waiting for approval. So once we approve that, as per our flow, it should go to the root cause analysis. So let's go back and approve that. So I'll click and approve that. So this flow is approved, and if I go back to this actual problem, you can see the flow automatically move or the flow is automatically set the problem state to root cause analysis. You can see the flow is approved, and then by flow automatically it moves to the root cause analysis. If you go back to the flow designer, if we refresh that, you can see this condition is satisfied. It's updated that flow state equal to root cause analysis, and it is waiting for problem to be resolved. So let's click fix. Once we click the fix, there are certain mandatory fields. Let's fill that. And then what will be happen? The flow or the problem will be moved to the fixed state, and then again somebody has to be manually click the resolve state. So I'll click the resolve. Once we resolve that, it means that our waiting state is ended. If we refresh that, it will go to the further state. So if we refresh that, you can see the lookup record is updated, and then this has been updated, but sending email have some error. So let's go back here. So if I refresh that, so you can see if I go back here in this incident, if I refresh that, it should be updated as a result. So I can see let's refresh that. So resolution code, it said that you can see resolution code said that resolved by this problem number, but I think by mistakenly we did not mention that state it should be resolved. So I have not mentioned the state, so we can update this. So here I actually forget to mention the state equal to resolve. You can set that state equal to resolve for the future. So you can do that, state equal to resolve. And activate that. So this way you can create your flow, instead of workflow, and use in your future. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comments. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, this is the day 5 of the flow designer training. In this day we'll talk about the trigger a flow from an inbound email. Let's say that you have received a email from some third party or from service provider to your ServiceNow. The moment you receive the mail, normally we know that we have inbound action that trigger and create the record or update the record based on our condition. Like similar inbound action, we can also trigger our flow. So normally the flow trigger based on whenever we are creating the record, whenever we are ordering a catalog item. Similarly, whenever we received a email, so based on that email, we can generate our flow. So we can trigger our flow instead of inbound action. So one of the option is the inbound action, but instead of inbound action, we can generate the flow or trigger the flow, and then we can do some action. What is the benefit of the triggering the flow instead of that inbound action? The benefit here is that we can do a lot of steps, we can do a lot of things without any code. Like you can trigger the notification, we can send the approval, we can create the record. All these things we can do which needs additional code in our inbound action. So in our today's class we'll learn that how we can trigger a flow based on inbound email. So let's see that. So before we talk about that, how we can initiate our flow from inbound email, we should know that how our inbound action normally works. The initiation or the inbound action started the moment you received a email. So let's say that in the ServiceNow, you have received a email, and then the moment you receive the email, there are certain condition or there are list of inbound action are there, like 4, 5 inbound or 10, 12 inbound action are there. Based on their condition, table name, our inbound action pick that and process that and do some action like create a record or update the record or the delete the record, whatever code we have written there. The similar mechanism is going to be work in our flow. First, we will receive a mail in our ServiceNow mailbox. The moment we receive the mail email in our mailbox, there will be multiple flow like 4, 5 or 10 flow, which is the condition or trigger condition is the inbound action, as well as there will be some additional condition. Based on the additional condition and order, our flow will be picked, and inside the flow there will be certain action to create a record, to update the record, or do whatever the actions we needed. There will be defined on the flow, and that will be work. So this is our ServiceNow instance, and in this ServiceNow instance, if you type the flow designer, you will be able to find out this flow designer module. And in my previous video, I talk about the basic stuffs about flow designer, what is the flow, what are the components are there in the flow designer. So if you have not watched my previous video, my request should be go and watch the previous video. In our today's sessions, first we are talking about that how we can create a flow with the inbound email. To creating the flow, as you know that you have to go to the right side and then click the create flow options. And here you need to put the flow name. I have mentioned the flow name. Here I'm going to select that run as a system. You can do that run as a system or run as a user depending on your use cases. Now I'll select the submit. So our flow creation is done. You can see the flow. Once you create the flow, there is one tool showing right now. You can skip that. And then first thing is that we need to be set up the trigger condition. I'll click the plus sign, and we have already discussed about that. Under the record, we have create, update, or create or update these options. I'll click that application one, and then in the application one, we have already even discussed about the service catalog. In today's session, we are going to talk about the inbound email. So first, I'll select that inbound email. The moment you select the inbound email, you have a field called reply record type. So if you are trying to reply on behalf of any outbound email of the ServiceNow, then you can select that. I'm not doing anything, so I'll do for the new email. Here you have a options called on which condition you want to trigger this inbound flow. That condition we have to be satisfied, or that condition has to be mentioned here, because there could be 100 or 200 or 1000 inbound flow will be there, inbound email flow will be there, but on a specific condition that flow should be triggered. Let's say that I am setting that the subject, here there is many options there. So I'll say that the subject starts with, and then I can mention that create incident. So if somebody sent a email to the ServiceNow called create incident, at that moment this flow should be triggered. The next thing is that we need to be define some action. We can define multiple actions here. The first action is that we are going to create an incident. So I'll click actions. Under this ServiceNow code, you have options called create record. You can select that. And here you can define the table name. What do you want to create? We want to create an incident. So you can select that here, table name called incident. The moment you select that incident, you need to define that field name. So I'll click the plus sign. What field I want to set? The first thing I want to set the short description. So I'll select the short description. And what should be the short description? The short description should be the email subject line. So you can go to the triggering condition, then email record, and then here we can select the subject. So whatever will be the subject line, that subject line should be copy and paste to our incident. Next thing is that I want to set the description. And what should be the description? The description should be that email body text will be our description. Then what we are trying to do, we are trying to set the caller of the incident. So let's say that at the caller of the incident, at that moment, we are going to fix some user. So we'll select that able tutor is the caller fixed user. So in this way, we can create a incident. So our creation of the incident is done. The next topic is that how we can copy the attachment. To copy the attachment, we can click that here and then click the action. And we can select that under this ServiceNow code, you will be able to see the copy attachment. You can copy this attachment. So we'll click the copy attachment. The moment you select the copy attachment, the first thing is that you have to select the attachment records. Attachment record means the sys attachment record or the sys attachment record. How can we go and check the sys attachment record? We can do a lookup. We can click the plus sign, click the action under the ServiceNow code. We can go and then select the lookup records. And then on which table we are going to look up that? We are going to look up that sys underscore attachment table. We know that under the sys underscore attachment table, all the attachments stored. And then how we can find out that for which attachment, what is the attachment for this email or this inbound email? We can put that table sysID is that trigger inbound trigger sysID. So you can say that email record and then sysID. So we are going to look up all these attachment. If there is a 2 or 3 attachment, we are going to look up that all these under this attachments table, and then we need to find out and copy attachment one by one. For that, we'll click here, then click the flow logic, and then we have a for each loop. So I have discussed about the for each loop previously also. For each loop basically do loop one by one and go through the record one by one. So we'll click the for each loop and then click the lookup records and attachment records. What will be the happen? All this attachment, it will go through one by one. After we got the for each loop, we need to do certain thing. We need to copy that, right? So we can move this one to here, here to here. And what we are trying to copy, we are trying to copy this attachment. So what I'll do, I'll click here and then for each and attachment record. And where we want to copy under this incident record. We'll click here and then create record and incident record. So this is our target record. So that's it. Our flow is done. We can just save this record. So our flow is saved. Here, if I go back and then type with that emails, and then you can see all these emails that has been triggered or that has been generated today are storing under this table called sys emails table. Now I cannot test end-to-end by sending from the third party to the service. Now I cannot do that. You can do that in your actual customer environment. For PDI, they have disabled this option. For testing purpose, I can click the new button and create that. Okay, so what will be our subject line? The subject line will be create incident for me. So maybe I can put any subject line. What should be the body? I'll open any existing emails. Let's say that I'll open any random email because I don't have actual body. So I'll copy this body from here and paste here. Because normally the emails, the sys email should store all the incoming and outgoing email because I don't have any account set up for PDA environment. That's the reason I cannot show you that. And then if I scroll down, I'll copy this content type and paste here and save that. The moment I will save that, the system will recognize that he or the system is received some email from the third party, and that system will pick that our inbound flow. Let's save that. Our email has been saved as a receipt, and if I go back to the emails log table, I'll click the reprocess email and then go back and let's see still it's picked or not. And here you can see that it's picked that emails log, and if I go back to the flow designer and go to the execution, you can see this one is just now triggered. If I click open, and you can see the incident record has been created, and this is the incident record, but it's do a lookup, but it actually could not find, you can see 0 of 0, could not find any attachment, right? So it did not have any attachment, right? So what I'll do, I will attach some attachment here again. I have just attached some document called incident Excel file, and then I'll click reprocess email again. So the moment you click the reprocess email, the system will think that this is a new email or I need to reprocess this email again. So I'll click reprocess email. The moment I'll click the reprocess email, it should trigger or it should pick again that flow. So I'll go again that execution, and I can see again another flow is created, and right now you can see that it's showing that count 1 of 1. It means that it find out one emails attachment. I'll click this. This incident has been created. I'll click this button, and you can see this incident short description is set here. This is the description set here, and if I copy this incident number to that new tab or here, you will be able to find out that attachment got copied from sys emails. And you can see that this attachment has been copied from our sys attachment table or from the email table. That's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Hello everyone, I'm Rohit and this is the day 6 of the Flow Designer training. In this day we'll talk about that how we can create a subflow in Flow Designer. So in our today's topic is the subflow. So let's understand that what is the subflow. Subflow are a sequence of reusable action to use in Flow. Developer can create subflow to perform common process specific to the custom application. So developer can create a subflow depending on the requirement for the common process. What could be the common process? The common process could be the create change request. So the create change request is a common process, right? There could be another process called create incident, create request. So depending on your own custom application, custom requirement, you can build your own process through the subflow. So in our today's session, I'll create a subflow and add some of the process in our ServiceNow system. So what are the process we are going to do in our subflow? We are going to add these many actions in our subflow. First, we'll create a subflow name called create change request. Via that, we'll create a change request. Then we'll assign that change request to the particular group member, and then we'll send a mail to assignment group. So let's go back to the ServiceNow instance and see how we can do that. So this is our ServiceNow demo instance. In this demo instance, we are going to create a subflow. To create the subflow, first we'll go and open the Flow Designer module and open this Flow Designer module. So this is our Flow Designer console, and then here, like we create the flow, we can create the subflow. There is some difference between flow and subflow. We'll discuss that, but let's say that in our today's topic is the subflow. We'll click the subflow. The moment we click the subflow, we have a options, or we can say the property where we can define the subflow name, description, application name, accessible from, subflow annotation, and other stuffs like the way it was showing in our flow. So let's say that I'll put this subflow name called create change request, and then you can define the description, you can define the application, and these are the other things like run as role, run as user sessions, whatever you think that. I'm not going to do anything. I'll just put the name called create change request. This subflow goal is to create the change request. Now, if you see that, notice that previously when we created that flow, we have a options called trigger option, where we can trigger that on which certain condition our flow will be triggered, like whenever the incident will be created, updated, or change will be created, updated, or any inbound email or maybe schedule. Basis on that, we want to trigger the flow. But subflow is not a triggerable content. It needs to be called. So that's the reason we don't have any options called trigger. We have options called input and output. I'll show you how we can use the subflow, but you can see that this subflow, or whenever you create a subflow, there is no option to trigger that. Now I'll click these actions here, click the actions, and then first thing we are going to create a change request. So I'll go, and if you scroll down, we have a one application called ITSM. Under this ITSM, we have various types of ITSM operations, like creating change, creating incident, all this. So if we see that under this change submodule, we have a various change module. So if you see that we have a create emergency change from incident, create normal request from incident, create standard request from incident. So we have a various options where we can create the change request. For example or generic example, I will take that create emergency change, because create normal change which have only from incident, but we want to build the generic. So we'll select the create emergency change request. So in this action, we need two parameters. One is the description and then short description. How do we get that description and short description? We will pass, or we will use the short description and description from our input parameter. What we can do, under this input parameter, we can create our own input parameter. So first I'll click the plus sign, and you can see that under this we have an input parameter and we have an output parameter. We have two options. One is the input, another is the output. Let's say that we are going to create two input parameter or two input variable, one for the short description, another is the description. We'll click plus sign, and then we are going to say that short description. This is the label, this is the name, and then we can define the type. And is it mandatory? Yes, it's a mandatory. Now we have another parameter we can create, that is called description. So we'll say that description. Automatically it will be renamed. Is it a string or whatever, depending on your type, you can select that. And is it mandatory? Yes, it is mandatory. We'll click done. So whenever or whoever is going to test this subflow, they have to be passed these two information, like at that moment short description and description, and then based on the short description and description, the change request will be created. So let's put that description to here, and then short description to from the subflow information, we'll put that. Now, once our change request is created, we want to assign this change request to particular groups, right? For that, we also need a information. So let's say that I'll click plus sign and then say that assignment group. So these are my input parameter. This time type will be the reference. So I'll select the type equal to reference, as we know that normally assignment group is part of the reference, and say that I can say that group. Okay, and this is not a mandatory. You can put that, or you maybe you won't want to put that. That's your depending on your use case. So the now next step is that I want to update that emergency change as an assignment group. I want to set some assignment group on that emergency change. So I'll click that plus sign, and then I'll click the action, and then here I will pick that update one. So I'll search with that update record, and I'll pick that. What we want to update, we want to update this emergency change as an assignment group. So we'll pick this create emergency change request, and then under this field I will set that call assignment group. And what should be the value? Value should be come from the input. So we'll click that, and then we'll select the subflow input and then assignment group. So here we created the emergency change and we updated the emergency change. Now here, if we want to do any other steps like sending email, sending SMS, do whatever things, if we make sense, we can do that, but I'm not doing anything. The moment our subflow is done, so as we know that subflow is not triggering from, or it is not triggering automatically, it has to be called from somewhere else. either from the script, either from the flow, whatever, we need to be call that subflow from somewhere else. And that whoever is calling this subflow, they might need this change number. For that, we can return or we can pass this change number as an output. How do we create the output? We can click this plus sign, and then here we can click this plus sign, and we can define that our output variable name or output parameter name. So let's say our output parameter name is called change number or change request, and the name will be automatically reflect. Here we can put the type equal to string, or let's say that I'll select the reference, and then the table name is the change request. I'll select that. So I will return this the change number as an output. To return that output, we can click the plus sign again. You can select the flow logic, and under the flow logic, we have options called assign subflow output. We can click that, and here we can click the plus sign, and here we can select this this one. We can select the change request. This is created, or this is showing from that input and output parameter. We can select that. So this is the name of this our variable, and what should be the value? Value should be coming from that once this change request is created. So we'll click that and then select that and then change request. All right. So in an overview, this is a subflow. This subflow is responsible to create an emergency change based on that assignment group, short description. And once we get that, we will create this emergency change and we'll update that and we'll return that change number. So let's save this flow or subflow. As I mentioned in the beginning, this subflow cannot be triggered until unless we call from somewhere else. We can call from that script, we can call from that another flow, we can do that. First we'll test that this subflow and then we'll call that. So to test that, we can click this test button. Once we click the test button, you can see initially we mark that short description as a mandatory parameter. Assignment group is not mandatory. Either we can pass or not. Let's say that test subflow and test subflow description, and assignment group maybe cap. And once we click the run test, it's supposed to be create a change request and it return the change number. Let's click run test and click this status. As you know that this is supposed to create a change request, and this is the change request which has been created. Next we have a update. So this is the assignment group which supposed to assign, and this is the output that returns. So let's see. We will open this change request or change number and see that first. We'll open this change number. And as you can see, the change short description populated, assignment group also populated. So this is how it subflow works. Now the next question comes to that how we can use this subflow in our actual real time. So we cannot go and click the test and do that, right? So let's understand that in a use case. So we can go to this incident for this example. And this incident is a new incident. I will open that. And I'll try to resolve this incident. As you know, the moment you try to resolve this incident, you have some information like resolution code, and then resolution notes are mandatory, right? In this resolution, you can see the resolution code and resolution notes are mandatory. In this resolution note, once we select this resolved by change and then we put some resolution note, it will create a change request through the flow. This will be our requirement, right? So let's say that the moment incident will be resolved and the resolution code is resolved by change and then resolution notes is something, at that moment our subflow should be triggered. So this subflow should be triggered, right? How can we do that? So to do that, first we'll create a flow. So we'll create a flow. So let's say that create flow, and then let's say that incident resolved by change. So this might be our flow name. We'll submit that and we'll skip tool. What should be the trigger condition? We'll say the record updated. Which table or which record should be updated? The record is nothing but the incident record. Incident record if it is updated. On which filter? The filter is that whenever state changes to the result and then resolution code is resolved by change. So we'll select that. State changes to resolve and resolution code is resolved by change. At that moment, this flow should be triggered. Now, you might be asked that whatever actions or whatever action we have created under the subflow, like create, emergency, change, update, these two things we can directly add that in our flow. Yes, you can do that, but let's assume that this is our standard process of creating change. So if you create separate, if you there is a 10 or 12 places if you want to address or if you want to do that, that will be redundant process, right? Like a script include. You can copy and paste the whole code, whatever inside the function into directly business tool. But we don't do that. We normally call that function so that we can use in multiple places, right? Similarly, create change request is a standard process that can be used, or this is a subflow that can be used in multiple places. It could be from the incident, this flow, it could be used in a different flow. Now here we can click the actions, and this time we are not going to add these two actions. Instead of that, we'll directly call this subflow. To call this subflow, we'll click this plus sign, we'll click the subflow options, and you can see there are n number of subflow at that moment present. So you can select or you can search your own subflow. So we'll search with that create. You can see I'm not able to find out our own subflow. Why? Because this subflow is right now saved, but it did not publish. So we should publish this subflow. I'll just publish this subflow and then go back to this flow, and then let's try to search again. I'll go and then click the subflow and then search that create change request, and you can see if I select that, there is a two option. You can see there is a two option. Which one is our case? The R is in capital. You can see create change because this is in capital. So we'll select that. The moment we select the this our flow, we can see that we have a two fields or two input parameter is a mandatory short description and description. What should be the short description for change? The short description could be the change is the incident short description. We'll pick that trigger condition, incident record, and then we can select the short description. So short description should be the incident short description. What should be the description? Description should be, we can select the trigger condition here, and then we can select this is a description, or could be resolution notes is the description. So we can select the resolution notes is our description. What should be the assignment group? Let's say I'm doing hard coded, for example. Okay. So this is our create change request process is done. So in this way, we can actually create our change request. Now, what else? The moment change request is created, let's say that I want to add in somewhere in this incident. Under this incident, there is a field called change request. There I want to populate or set that change number. How can we do that? As you know, or as we already discussed, that this subflow will return a change number. So what I'll do, I'll click this plus sign, click action. Then I can search with the update record, and I'll pick that which record I want to update. I want to update this incident record. So I'll go and then select this trigger record. And what field I want to update? I want to update the change request field. So I'll select the change request. And what should be the value? The value will be returned from this subflow. So we'll select that one. So we'll select this create change request, and this will return a change request number. So we'll select that. And we'll save and activate this process. And activate this one. So let's understand in a high level. We have created a subflow, we have created a flow. This subflow is a standard process for creating a change request, and we can use this subflow in number of places, in number of flow, and in number of time. Now we want to call this subflow in our flow that is called incident resolved by change. Whenever the incident is going to be resolved, in that state is resolved by change, at that moment we'll call this subflow and we'll create a change request or maybe emergency change request, as well as after that we'll update our incident record with that change number. So let's state that. So I'll just refresh this incident. I'll change this state to resolve, and then I'll scroll down. As we know that resolution notes and resolution code are mandatory, so we'll select that resolved by change, and then here we'll put some resolution code called testing flow. So as you know, this is going to be the description of our change, and this will be our short description of our change. So, and once the change will be created under the related record, here the change number should be populated. So let's save that. So I'll just save that. The moment we save that, you can see the change number is automatically populated, and if I open this change number, that create incident, testing flow, and then cab approval, this all, and then everything was working as per our expected. So if I go back to the flow designer and open this flow and go to the execution, if I do jet to A, you can see that these two are just now triggered. This is the first flow and this is the subflow. So if I open this flow, you can see this is the flow which is triggered, and this is actually supposed to call our subflow. This is a subflow, and this is triggered, and this is created a change request. So this is how we can use in our flow designer called subflow. That's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, this is the day 7 of the flow designer training. In this day we'll talk about that how we can call a subflow from a UI action or from any of this background script. So normally we created a subflow in our previous sessions, and that subflow is getting called from the flow. So not only call subflow from the flow, we can also call the subflow via some scripting in that UI action or any of these our background script, or that like any of these our client script or server side script. So in today's session, we will talk about that how we can call a subflow from the script. So let's go back to the ServiceNow instance and see how it works. So this is our ServiceNow demo instance, and if I go back to the problem module, so I'm opening any existing problem, and if I open this existing problem, so if I right click on the header, you can see that create normal, change, create standard, emergency. These are the contextual menu which has been created, and this UI action have some script. So let me open this UI action. So if I go back to this UI action module, and if I type the table name equal to problem, and here if I type the name equal to create and search, so you can see create normal, change, create change request. These are the button are available. And for example, if I open any of this UI action, and if I scroll down that, you can see that there are a lot of scope code is mentioned here, and this code is normally we are calling a script include, we are setting some value. These are the things we are doing here, right? So instead of doing all this code, all this set, we can directly use, or directly we can call our subflow that we have created earlier, and then we can do with the less code, or we can call a subflow from our UI action. Let me show you that. So if I go back to the flow designer module, open this flow designer module. So this is the flow designer module, and if I click the subflow, and you can see this change request, create change request subflow we have created. And this subflow is callable subflow. It means that we have to be called from somewhere else. So this subflow can be called from a flow, or else you can call directly this subflow from any of this script like UI action, client script, wherever we need it. How do we call this subflow from the script? If you click this double triple dots, here you have a options called you will be see that create code snippet. So if you click this create code snippet, you will be able to see that what code you have to use or what code you have to write, that is mentioned here. So you can see that we have a two option called server and client side. So you can use in client side and you can use in server side. There are some saying that Subflow is not currently configured to the client callable, um, but you can do that. Okay, so this is the server side script and this is the client side script. We can just scroll down or we can copy that whole code, or there is a button called copied clipboard options is there. You can click that. Now, if you see this or if you observe this in a deeply, you can see that there is an input variable, and in these inputs we are passing three things. First is the short description, description and assignment groups, and then after that it is going to be call this our subflow with the subflow name, backend name, and then as the output we'll get a change request number. So that's it. So we'll click this and then our code is copied. What I'll do, I'll go back and then go to the UI action, and I'm going to create my own UI action. So let's say that I'm going to create a new UI action. And then in this table, I'm going to put the table name equal to problem. And here I can put the name called create change request. So this is my UI action name, and this is my form button. I'm saying that. And if I scroll down here, I can paste whole code here. I can paste this whole code. If I want to remove this function also, I can do that. Now on this UI action, I need to be passed three value, or you can say that short description, description and assignment groups, right? And then that's it, right? So what I'll do, I will put this short description. How do we get the short description? Short description is my problem field short description that I want to pass. So I'll go back in this. Here I will put the current dot short description. So this way I can pass this short description here. Similar way I can put that current dot description, right? So I can do this way. So I'll put this current dot description here, and then I can pass this current dot assignment group. So let's say that I'll put that current dot assignment group. So we have a field called assignment group. We can pass that. So what will be happen the moment you are going to call this UI action? This UI action is going to be passed this short description, description and assignment group, and it is going to be call our subflow. And the moment you call the subflow will run and will return some value as a outputs. And then if we want to set or store this, we know that this is going to be return the outputs, and if we want to store that output in any of these fields, let's say that here or any of these places, we can put that. For example, under this close node, I am going to put this output. So I'll go and then paste that, call current dot close node equal to change request. So this will return me the change sysID, right? And then I'll do the current dot update. Although it needs some code, but you can see this is our standard procedure, and in this standard procedure we don't need any kind of, I'll just remove this function block. Let's see, and let's do format. So if you see that I'm getting an error, so the error is that we don't have we actually copy try block, but we have not, I think, copy the catch block. So I'll copy this catch block also and paste there. Okay, let's do format again. So before we are going to save this one, if you see or if you notice that, you can see that current dot assignment group and slash, it have a client record. It means that we need to be pass or we need to query to that sys user group table and then return or pass this gr object. For the moment, I'll just disable that and save that. So it means that I'm not going to be pass assignment group right now. Now go back to this problem module, and then if I click this create change request, what should it done? It should trigger our flow, and it should you know run this flow and create a change, and it should put this change number. As you can see, it's returned the change sysid and stored into the close node. And if I go back to the flow designer and click this execution, you can see it's executed our subflow, and that subflow created a change. You can see this is a change, and if I open that, this is the change that has been created with this uh, flow testing, which is nothing but the problem short description. This way you can call your subflow from any of these UI action or any of this background script. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, I'm Rohit, and this is the day 8 of the transform function in the flow designer. So what is the transform function? We'll talk in a little bit later, but let's talk about that. What are the things we are going to discuss in our today's class? So in today's class, what I'm going to do that I'm going to create a flow. So there will be a new flow, and that flow will be triggered, or the flow will be attached the moment the change request will be moved to the scheduled state. So first I'm going to create a flow, and that flow is going to be attached in our change request table the moment the change move to the schedule state. From our flow, we are going to set the planned end date, which is nothing but start date plus 5 days. So through the flow, we are going to set that start date plus 5 days with that help of flow. Secondly, we'll wait for certain time when the change will be moved to the implementation state. So we are going to wait our flow, or in our flow we are going to wait until unless the change is moved to the implementation state. And then after that, in the step 4, once the change is moved to the implementation state, we are going to send a email with that hi. Then in first name, the first name is that change opened by first name, which is in capital letter, and this is only the first name, not the full name, the first name. And then we are going to send a message called change request has been started with the change number and some date format. This is going to be, we are going to send a email. So this is going to be our today's task, and this is need the transform function. What is transform function, how we can use the transform function in our flow, that I'm going to discuss right now. But with the help of transform function, we are going to do these stuff. So transform function is nothing but a inbuilt flow designer function that help us to do certain operation without writing any script. So we don't need to write any script. Without writing any script, we can do a lot of things, like we can from a string or from a whole name, we can just take a first name. So let's say that my name is Rohit Kumar. From this Rohit Kumar, we can just take the Rohit. With the help of transform function, we can add some date, we can subtract some date, we can check there is any value or not. So these things we are going to discuss in our today's session. Let's go back to the ServiceNow instance and see. So this is our ServiceNow demo instance. In this ServiceNow demo instance, I just opened the flow designer. The first thing, as I mentioned, that I'm going to create a new flow. So I'll click this create new option and click the flow. Let's say the name is the change request. And I'm going to change this run as to the system. The like run the workflow, I'm going to set that run as system. So the flow will be run and all this operation will be done via system user. I'll click the submit button. And then I'll just skip this two. What is the trigger condition? I'll add the trigger condition, the record, and then update. And then what is the state? And for what is the table? The table is the change request table. So I'll say that change underscore request. So this is the change request table. What is the additional condition? I said that state should be in schedule state. So the moment the state will be changes to the schedule state, I want to run this flow. I'll just click done. And then what is the first thing I am going to do that? The first thing is that I want to set that I'll open an existing change first. So this is our change. So I'll open any of this existing change. The moment the change will be moved to the schedule state, the automatically system will set the plan start date, and I will add plan end date from the flow with the additional 5 days. So whatever will be the start date, I'll add 5 days and set as a plan end date. So this is our first task. So first I'll go here, click add actions, click the actions, and then here I'll find out that out of box actions called update record. So I'll search with that update record and then select that. Which record I'm going to update? I'm going to update the record is change request. So I'll click here, trigger condition, change request. What value I want to set? I want to set the planned end date. So I will select the planned end date. Now the question is that what should be the value? The value should be the start date of this change request plus 5 days. Now how I can do or how I can add the 5 days? That is the question. Or how we can set the 5 days from the current day, right? In that case, we don't have any option. We need to be write the script. That is the one option. And the second option is the transform function. System provide a ability to do some transform function. Let me do that. So first, what we are saying that the start date plus 5 days, right? So I'll select that on the planned end date again. So I want to set the planned end date equal to planned start date plus 5 days. So whatever will be the planned start date, that date plus 5 days is our planned end date, right? How can we do that? So what I'll do, I will go here and then this is our static value. If you want to set some static value, we can do that, right? What I want that planned start date plus 5 days. What I'll do, I'll click here, record change request, and then I'll pick the planned start date first. So this is our planned start date. Now in this plan start date, I want to add 5 more days, right? So without writing the code, this is little difficult, right? But in the ServiceNow in Flow Designer, there is one option called transform function. If you click or hover over any of these, data pillar, you can see that there is a FX option. If you click this FX option, your transform function will be loaded and you can pick any of this transform function. Now, if you see that there are various type of transform function, like one is the math, one is the date and time, string, utils, sanitize cell arguments, sanitize SQL complex data. In our case, I want to add 5 more days. And you can see that if you click date and time, you have a options called add time. So you have an option or ability to, you can add the time. There are other methods. I pick some example to show you the demonstration, but you can explore more option here. Now, if you see that we have two sections, one is the available transform and then apply transform. So at that moment, I have not applied any transform, but these are the available transform. So what I am going to do that I am going to add some days, right? So I'll click add times and then what time we want to add 5 more days. So we'll click and just put the 5 days. So let's understand one more time. So we are going to add 5 days from the starting date. So I'll click apply. The moment I click apply, you can see that applied transform is added, which is nothing but add time. So you can apply multiple transform on a single operation, but in our case, we just need only one transform. So I'll click that. And you can see this FX is right now in blue color. It means that this FX is applied. So what will be happen? The plan end date will be the plan equal to plan start date plus FX, which is nothing but 5 more days. I'll click done and save and simply test this transform function. So go here, pick any change. Let's say for the timing, I'm picking right now today's date, 27th. I'll copy this change number and at that moment you can see that the plan end date is empty. So it should add 5 more days and set that plan end date. Go back to the Flow Designer. I can click that test and then pick this change number. And once I'll click the run test, it should set that or it should update the planned end date. If I go back, you can see that the planned end date automatically updated that 5 more days from the 2 days. So this way we can, without writing our any code, we can add some date and there are many operations. I'll show you that 1 or 2 operations, but you can explore that. I'll go back again and what is the next condition? Our next condition is that we should wait for implementation step, right? So I'll click add sign and then go back and then click this action, and then in this action we have a wait for condition. We can search this wait for condition, and if I go back here, wait for condition, you can select that. In this wait for condition, you can select that what should be the condition and what should be the record. In our case, we are going to wait for this change request, and on which condition, the moment the state will be changes to implementation. So I will wait for state changes to implementation, or state is implementation, whatever is you think that. Okay. All right. So I'll click the done. So this flow will be wait until this change move to the implementation. Now, what is the next? Next is that I should send a email with that first name, hi first name, and this is the first name. I should pick that, and it's in a capital letter. And then I should send a email with this change start date and end date. This is also I'm going to done through the transform function. Let's go back to the ServiceNow. In this ServiceNow, we have a actions called send email. I'll pick that one. So I'll search that send email, and you can see this is the default option, so you can select that. Now, to whom we are going to send that? For example, I'm going to send that requested by. So I'll pick that and then select that requested by. So I'll click trigger record change request and requested by. So I'm going to send this email to requested by user, and what should be the subject? For example, the subject will be this short description. So I'll put this one, let's say that short description. So I'll go here in the change required and pick the short description. And in case if you want to put some additional operation or additional thing, you can put that. Let's say that now after that, if you want to put this planned start date, you can put that. So let me do that, the planned start date. So I'll go trigger condition change request planned start date. Okay, so the email I'm going to send that call short description and then planned start date. Now there will be a body. So in the body we are going to send a specific type of message. What is the message? The message is like that. So hi, then I want to put the first name in a capital letter. How do you get this first name? So if I go back to the change request, and under this change request we have a requested by. Under this requested by, if we want to pick this, if we want to go and dot work, we will be able to find out the first name. That's the one option. But I'm going to do from the title, or I'm going to do from the name. So I'll take the name, and from the name, what I'll do, I will pick this first name and then convert to this upper class. So what I'll do, I'll go here and then I will remove that, and then I will click here this data pillar, trigger record, change request, requested by, and then here I'll put the name. So name will return first name and last name, right? So either you can pick the first name or we can pick the name. For demonstration purpose, I'll pick the name. So in this name, what will be written? The name will return this system administrator full name, but I want that only system administrator in a capital letter. How can we do that? For that, again, we can use the transform function. You can click that fx, and then first thing is that from this whole letter or from this whole text, how can we pick only first text, right? For that, we have a various string concatenation options. We'll go back here and then I'll go to the string. Under the string, you will be able to see there is a one options called split. So what does split do? Split normally part in a 2-part or 3-part or 4-part particular string, and it convert to a array. So if you go back here in the flow designer, it's saying that its split returns an array string based on the provided separator that split in the input string. So it needs the input as a string, but it returns as a array of string. Okay, so what should be our split? Our split is nothing but, you can see that first name and last name, there is a one space gap. So we can put that the separator equal to space. and click apply. So our transform, the first transform is apply. In that way, it returned a array. Now what we need the first name or first array, right? For that, again, we'll go to the utilities. Under the utilities, all this array function is available. What we need actually the first element of the array. So we'll take that get first item from the array. So what we'll do, the whole text like system administrator, this text is split through that space, and then through the array, and it's written as the array, and then through the array we'll take the first index of the array, which is nothing but system. And then what next we need a to be convert this system to a uppercase. To do the uppercase, again we go back to the string, and then we have options called to uppercase. Using the to uppercase, we can convert the whole text to the uppercase. We'll apply that. So right now we have applied three transform. The first transform is the split. Second transform is that get the first array, which is nothing but system. And then third transform is that convert that system to a uppercase. That's it. We'll click OK. So this is our first message. And then in this started, I want to pass this change number. So to pass this change number, again we can click dot work and then trigger record, change record, and we can simply search with the number. I'm not doing any operation at that moment. Now under this date, I want to put the format equal to actually day, then month, then date, then year. In this format, I want to put that start date. To use that, you can see this is not showing any day, right? How can we do that? Again, we can use this transform function. I'm just showing these options for your own purpose. And then click here, trigger record, change record, and search for the planned start date. If we pass this planned start date, the system will print this value. But we need the day, then month, then we need the date in different format. We also have a options called transform function. If you click the fx, you have a options called date and time, and under this date and time you have a options called date to string. You can select that, and then you can select that on a which specific format you need that. So for example, our case, we need the first day, right? In this format we can select that. Once you select that, this transform function will be applied in our that specific value. Similarly, planned end date also we can do that. So we'll click remove that and then click the pillar, go to the trigger record, change record, and then we can put the planned end date. And I can click again the fx, and then I can apply the transform, same transform. So date and time, and then date to string, and then this is the format I am looking for. So this way the transform function works, and let's save this whole flow and test once. I'll just save that and activate. So as we know, this flow is going to be attached whenever the change is moving to the schedule. So let's go back to our module, change module. I'm going to create a new change here. So, and here, let's say that I'm selecting the normal change. And let's say that I'm putting that short description equal to testing, and then I'm selecting, or I'm just saving that. So this change request is created at that moment. And if I go back to the flow designer and go to the execution, there should not be any, you can see this flow, or this flow is triggered 13 minutes. So there is no flow which is attached right now. Now I'll move this change to, let's say that request for approval. The moment we put the request for approval, let's say that I'll put the planned start date. So I'll put this planned start date today now and save that. And then I'll click that request for approval. So the moment I'm trying to remove the request for approval, it needs that assignment group, and I'll click this request for approval. So now change move to the authorized section, and then it should generate some approval. You can see that approval is generated, and it have some planned start date. The moment we approve that, it should add the plan end date with the 5 days from today's date. So let's approve that. So I'll just click and approve. So it is approved, and you can see that plan end date automatically populated. How this plan end date populated? As we know that we have a flow which is attached to this change request. So you can see that automatically it's showing an option called show flow. If you click that, it will open our flow, and which is nothing but waiting for completion. So we'll click that, and we'll click this open operation view. So you can see the first step is that update record is done. It is added 5 days from the current date. So if I go back here, so it's saying that 5 days from the current date. That is done, and that has been done through the transform function. Secondly, it is waiting for our implementation state, and once it is moved to the implementation state, it should send a mail. I'll go back here and click implementation. The moment I click the implementation, our flow should be go to the next step. So we'll refresh that, and you can see the send email steps is moved, and it's supposed to send a email. And this is the email which is sent. Actually, we can see that hi system, and then this is the change number, this is the day, and started and ended is showing right now. With the help of again the transform function, you can go back to the emails log. Even you can go to the emails, and you will be able to see these contents even there. This is the emails, and you can see the subject is testing, which is nothing but the change short description and then change plan start date. If I open that, and then if I click the preview email, you will be able to see that hi system. So it picks that first time and converted to that capital letter, and then it's converted the date format with the day, then month, then date, and then year, and then time, this format. So this way you can use the transform function. There are more transform function is there, you can explore yourself, but I just want to show you that this function is available in the flow designer. You can explore that. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, this is the day 9 of the flow designer training. In this day we'll talk about the inline scripting in the flow designer. Although our main motto in the flow designer is that no code, low code, but still there are some situations where without coding it is not possible to fulfill our requirement. In that case, we can still use our inline scripting in the flow designer. But before using the inline scripting, there are certain rules and regulation we should follow, and that we are going to discuss in our today's sessions. And then we'll also discuss about that how we can do this inline scripting in the flow designer. So this is the ServiceNow documentation, and in this documentation we are talking about that inline scripting in the flow designer. If you scroll down that, before you do inline scripting, there should be certain consideration we should use that. So write inline scripting for small non-reusable logic. So if something is very reusable, then do not write the inline scripting. But if it is non-reusable and small line of code, then you can use this inline scripting. Then we have a transform function that we have discussed in our earlier video. So before using this inline scripting, check that is there any transform function is available in our system or not. Then we have a custom action that we are going to talk about our next video, like how we can create the custom action. Before you use the inline scripting, check that is there any possibility to use that custom actions so that you can use that custom action or maybe subflow. So before you create or before you use the inline scripting, these are the things you should keep in mind in our sim. So let's think about that what we are going to build in our today's sessions. So in today's sessions, what we are going to build that we are going to update a subflow. That subflow we have created earlier, and that subflow normally create a change request. So in previously, we created a subflow that normally create a change request via UI action. From the UI action, the moment you click that create change request, it call a subflow, and that subflow normally create a change request. So that subflow we are going to update that, and now what we are going to do that in the subflow, whenever the change will be created, we are going to set that plan start date equal to current date. So plan start date, we are going to set that current start date. How we are going to do that, that's the one thing. Secondly, we are setting this short description of the change from an input parameter, right? In this input parameter, what we are going to do that we are going to take only 15 character, and if somebody pass more than 15 character, we'll put dot 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 3 dot. So 15 character, after that we are going to put the 3 dot. So that is might be our requirement that we have received from our client, and that in that case we are going to implement our inline scripting, because that is not possible via transform function or any simple thing. So that we are going to build in our today's session. So let's go back to the ServiceNow and implement that. So this is our ServiceNow demo instance, and in this demo instance, if you type the flow designer, and you can see the flow designer module, and if you click that, the flow designer module will be open. Now if I go to the subflow, that subflow that we have created in earlier sessions will be visible, called create change request. So if I open this create change request subflow, this subflow is need input parameter, and then based on this input parameter it create a change request, and it update the change request with this some field value called assignment group. This is the purpose of this flow. If I click the test, what will be happen, it will take this information and it will create a simple change request. So let's click the run test, and if I click that view test result, you will be able to see it's create a change request. So this is create a change request. Let's see first requirement. In this first requirement, what we want in this change request, the moment we click this test change request, or the moment we call this subflow, it should set the change request planned start date equal to today's date. So it's a date and time field. So we need to be pass current date and time in this state. How can we do that? So that's the first requirement. To fulfill this first requirement, if you go here and you can see this is the out of box create emergency change request actions. It does not have any input parameter called planned start date. What we can do, we can click this update change request. In this update change request, we can update our change request that has been created in our earlier step. Here we are updating that assignment group. Now here we can set the planned start date. So we'll say that planned. So if you select the planned start date, we can set any planned start date. Now here is the thing, the planned start date is a dynamic thing and we need to be set current date. If we click this calendar, we can set any fixed date, or if it is something deriving from previous step, we can .awk and then do that. Like if it is coming from input parameter, we can do that. But if we want to set current date without scripting, that little difficult. To do that, we have a inline scripting option here. If you click that, you will be able to see a toggling option where you can write the script and that can give you desired result. So if you click that, you will be able to find out that some scripting part, and it's have some sample scripting written here. And if you see the line number 6, it's mentioning the return short description. Nothing but it means that whatever scripting you want to do the scripting, and finally you return the value, and that value will be set to this field. Okay, so if I uncomment that, the planned start date value will become from the script. So whatever scripting you need to be write that, and finally you return the value so that it can set that field value. So if you recall that PPT, I have mentioned that it is for the short type of script. So if you want to write small code, then you can use the inline scripting. So how do we set, or how do we get current date time? As we know that, let's say that I am declaring a variable called var and then c date, which will store the current date time. Now question is how we can get current date time. We have a API called new glide date time that return current date and time, right? And that will store into the C data. Now what we'll do, we'll return that. So we'll return, as I mentioned, that we need to be return that value so that it can store or it can set this value. So we use the glide date and time functions, and then with the help of glide and date time function, it return the current date and time, and that current date and time we are going to return in our that particular field. So let's save that and test that. So once we put this, and let's say that I'm putting that and click run test, we should be able to get a change which has been created with that planned start date. So if I click here and then if I open this change in a new window, I should be able to see the planned start date equal to current. You can see it set the current date and time, which is nothing but just now. So in this way, you can write our inline scripting, right? So you can open that and you can see I have write some code. That's the reason it's saying that scripted explain to edit. So you can click here and you can see that code. So this value plan start date value is coming from the script, not from the pillar or not from somewhere else. Now, if you see the second requirement is the set short description only 15 character, right? So we need to be take a value and that should be 15 character. If it is more than 15 character, we should put the 15 character, then these 3 or 4 dots. So that is our requirement, next requirement. So let's go and fulfill that. So to fulfill this second requirement, like putting that 15 character in a first place, then dot dot dot, what we are going to do that? First, let's open this activity, and if you can see this activity or this action need a short description as the input parameter. You can see this is coming from input parameter, right? What we'll do, we are going to create a variable. So yes, we can also create a variable under this flow or subflow. How we can create the variable? Let's first see that and then we'll discuss further. So first thing, we are going to create a variable. So we'll go and then we'll click here call flow variable and we are going to create a variable. So we'll click the plus sign and then we are going to create the variables called, let's say that in our case, the variable name called short description. So this is our variable label and the name will automatically populate it and it's a string variable. So we created this variable. What we are going to do that, first we are going to assign these variables value with this input parameter. So we'll click the plus sign, go to the flow logic, and then here we have action called set flow variable. We'll select that and then here we'll click the plus sign and then we'll pick this short description and what this is the variable name and what is the value. The value should be come from the input parameter. We'll select that. So we have created a variable and that variable's value set as a short description which is coming from the input parameter. All right, so we created a variable and that variable's value set by this input parameter. Now we'll click that in this create emergency change and instead of directly setting this value from this short description input parameter, we'll remove that and here we'll write the script. So first thing first, in that case, we need to be checked that the length of the character. If it is more than 15 character, then only you should put triple dot. If it is less than 15 character, we are going to set as it is, right? So how do we get this value? So we are going to fetch this value from this variable. So first, let's say that I'll declare call var short description equal to fd data. So this fd underscore data is the starting point or to fetching point where we can write the code. So then dot, and you can see that we have options called flow var. We'll select that. Then dot, we are going to select this short underscore description variable. So we are going to fetch these variables called short descriptions from this flow variable. And in this way, we can store our short description here. Now next, we need to check the length. So we'll say that if SD, it means that short description dot length is more than 15 character, then we are going to do certain things, right? Else will return as it is. So we'll say that else will return SD. So this is the small code we have written. Now the question is that what we are going to do that. So if it is more than 15 character, what we'll do, we'll say the return and then SD dot substring. There is a method called substring that cut down that character. So let's say that I'm going to cut down 0 to 15 character plus after that what I'll do, I'll put triple dot or 4 dot, whatever I needed, I can put that. So let's understand one more time. This short description, I'm going to set that change short description. I'm going to set that first I'm going to store this in a variable and that variable value I'm checking that. If that value is more than 15 character, I'll do a substring and then we'll put 0, 15 so that I can concatenate the 15 character, then I will plus and triple dot, else I'll return the complete text. So this is the script I have written here. You might be noticed that I am giving you very what scenario, but I just want to show you that how we can do these things in our inline script. So let's test that and see. So if I click this test right now, and then let's say that short description is the 2 or 3 character and description is something like that, and click run test, it should set our change short description as it is. So if I open that, I can see the variable value is set AAA. This is the variable. And if I open this change, let's say that I'm opening this change, it said that AAA. Now let's put that more than 15 characters. So let's put that more than 15 character. I put, repeated that and more than 15 character, and let's run that. Open this flow, and then this time open this change request and see what should be our value. So let's open that, and you can see after 15 character it put dot dot dot. So this way you can fulfill your requirement by inline scripting. One more thing I just want to show you guys, that if you see, this is the subflow, and this subflow is called from a flow, right? So let's go back, and you can see under this subflow there is a triple dot. If you click that, there is an option called show related flow. If you click that, all this flow that is used, this subflow is going to be shown here. So you can find out that which flow is getting used here. So this way you can write the inline scripting. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone. This is the day 10 of the flow designer training. In this day we are going to talk about that two flow logic. One is the parallel flow logic and do until the flow logic. These two topics we are going to discuss in our today's session. Before we talk about these two logic, let's understand what is our requirement. So in today's class, first we'll create a catalog item, and that catalog item I have already created you. I will just show you that. After creating the catalog item, the moment somebody ordered that, we want to generate a manager approval. Once the manager approval approve that, I want to create two parallel tasks. So there will be two tasks created at that same time, and then let's say the first task is completed, it will be wait for the another task. So let's say the second task is completed. Once both the task is completed, then we need to be run the some script so that it can create a asset. So this is our today's sessions or today's things we are going to discuss. That first thing is that we will generate a manager approval. Once the manager approve that, it will through the branch will create two catalog tasks. Once the catalog task, two catalog tasks completed, will from the script we are going to create the asset. So let's go back to the ServiceNow instance and let's understand that first workflow, and then from the workflow how we can convert this logic to our flow designer. So we have a already existing workflow. I have created that. I'll just show you that how the workflow works, and then I'll create a new flow to convert this workflow to a flow logic. So let's go back to the system and see that. So I have created a catalog item called asset requested. So this is a new catalog item that I have created. And at that moment, you will be able to see there is a workflow. So you can see I have created a workflow called asset requested. So this is the workflow. Now in this workflow, we have a parallel logic, we have a for loop logic. All these things we are going to convert in our flow designer. So first let's see that what we are requesting. So we have this catalog item have a try it button. Let's say I'm trying that, and in this catalog item we have a field called asset required. So let's say that I put the required asset is 5. The moment you order that, it will generate a manager approval. So it will go for the manager approval. So let's open this RITM. So you can see that I put the required asset is 5 and it's generate a manager approval. So my manager is the able tutor. It goes for the manager approval. Now the moment I approve that, it will generate two catalog tasks together. So if I scroll down, you can see that two catalog tasks, generate together. Let's go and click the show workflow. You can see right now the manager approval happens. It have a branches, and then it's have two catalog tasks. The moment I completed one of the catalog tasks, so let's say that I have completed these catalog tasks. Okay, so once this catalog task is completed, and you can see that the second it is waiting into that join two task. So I have to be complete this task, and then it will go for the further process. Like here I have to go here and then close another task. Let's say that I have closed this one. The moment I close this task, you can see it's go and then it run that create asset, this one, and then complete this process. This is how it works in this workflow. And if you see this workflow that generate a manager approval, for simple generating a manager approval, I had to write a script. Like here, I already write a script, current dot requested for dot manager, to get the manager and then push for the approval. So that for that only generating the manager approval, I need to write a script. And similarly, if you see that here create asset, I have not write any script. Basically what we want, let's say that somebody put the 5, for example asset required 5, I need to go through, like I need to do a for loop 5 times and create a asset 5 times. That was our requirement. Okay, so I need to write the script for that. So this is we are going to be convert, or this workflow we are going to convert to a flow designer. Okay, so let's go back to the flow designer module. So I'm typing here the flow designer, and then I'm going to create a new flow designer. Let's say the catalog item name is asset requested. So I'll create that similar kind of flow. So I'll click here, create new flow. Then let's put the flow name, and then let's say the system user, and submit that. So I'm going to create a flow with that user, system user. Trigger condition should be application service catalog. So it is going to be generate, or it is going to be triggered from the service catalog. Now the first thing is that I need, if you see that the first thing is that I need a manager approval, and at that time that it should be waiting for approval, right? So let's go back here into the flow designer, and then I'll click here, then action, and if you see that ask for approval, I'll select that. Now this time ask for approval is a dynamic, right? So we'll select this record. So click here, trigger record requested item. The moment we selected that, I need to be select the rules. So let's say that anyone can approve, or all the user approve. So let's say that anyone can approve. Now here I need to select the user who is going to be approved. If you see that workflow, and if I open that, whoever is requested by, their manager is going to be approved, right? So this is, if you see that, requested for the manager, right? So for that we have to write the script, but in the flow designer we don't need to write the script. We can click here, go to the trigger, go to the here, and then type the requested for, and then manager. So you can just .org and select that. So this time we set that a dynamic user. The dynamic user is nothing but requested for manager. So that's done. So you can see ask for approval is done. You can put that annotation called manager approval. So you can mention that. Okay, so it is manager approval. If you see, there is a one diagram view. If you click that, this flow can be show as a diagram view, how normally the way it looks like your workflow. You can see the service catalog. Once it is service catalog generated, it's asking for the approval, right? So you can switch that. Now next thing is that if you see this workflow, next thing is that there is a branch, and then from the branch we have two catalog task which is running on the parallelly. How can we do that in the flow designer? In the flow designer, we can click this add actions. In the flow logic, we have options called do following parallel. We can select that, and you can see the moment you select that, there is a one loop started where you can put that what actions you are looking for. The first thing is that we are looking for a catalog task. The first catalog task is that hardware team. So let's do that. I'll click plus sign action, and then here I'll select that catalog task, right? So you scroll down and select the create catalog task. And if you go back to here, and what is the catalog task details, like what should be the short description, you can put that. So it means that this catalog task is assigned to the hardware team, right? So what I will do, I'll go to this flow designer, and then let's say that I will, you can see I need to be select the requested item. So I'll go here and then trigger condition requested item, and here I can put the short description. So here we can pick that short description. So I can put, or I can say that hardware team task, something like that. I can put that, and here we can select this catalog item. Let's say that our catalog item name is, what is our catalog item name? Our catalog item name is the asset requested. We can select that, and then any variable that you want to include, you can add that. Let's say that approve asset, I am going to add there. And if you want to set any value, let's say that I want to set the assignment group, so I'll say that assignment group should be hardware. I can select that. Okay, so that is one task. Then we have another task. So the moment we selected that, there you can see another task open. So we'll click that action and then do the same thing. So what I'll do, I can copy that event. So I will simply copy that, and then I'll move this to here. So I can drag and just copy like that. Now this one, you can see previously it was hardware. I want to change to the software, so I'll put that software, and then here I'll put that software. Okay, so similar, we have two tasks. One is the you can see the catalog task, and these are the catalog tasks. The top one is a hardware catalog task. Let's put that hardware catalog task. And bottom one is the software task. So once it is done, right, it should be done something. Once it is done, what we are doing, once these things are done, we are actually creating the asset. And actually I have not done here in that, but actually I want to create an asset. How many times? Let's say that the user put the 5. So I want to create 5 assets. So I need to do a for loop, and within the for loop, I need to do something, right? Let's do that in the flow designer. First, you can see that if you click here, call this diagram view, we will be able to see the better picture. You can see this is the better picture. So ask for approval. After that, it created a branch, and in this branch, you can see there are 2 catalog tasks. After that, there is a node where you can add that. So what do we want to add? We want to do certain thing. We want to do for loop, and then in the for loop, I want to create the asset, right? So what I'll do, I'll first create a variable. So I'll click here, and then I will here click the flow variable, and then here in this flow variable, I'll say that, let's say the flow variable name is called asset count. So this is my flow variable, and then type is my integer. Okay, so this is my asset variable, asset count, which is type is integer. Okay, so let's close that. So this is the one, and then you can see, let's say that I put the 5, right? So let's say that I put the request asset request 5. I need to do the for loop 5 times, right? Now, how I get the variables value, like whatever the variables value, for that, what I'll do, I'll click there, call anywhere like here, and then click action, and then we can add this action called get variables. We have that, right? So we can search that called get variable, get catalog variable, and then what is our here I need to select the RITM. So you click here, trigger condition and RITM, and in this template I need to select the catalog item. What is the catalog item name? So we have the catalog item name called asset requested, so we'll go and put that. Okay, and what value or what field value I need the asset requested, so we'll pick that. Okay, so we have added that get catalog variable, and where the value is 5, right? So let's switch back to that normal view. So here you can see this is the get catalog variable where we can get that some value. Now here, after completing these 2 branch, if I want to do some actions, what we want? We want to do a for loop and create an asset. To do the for loop, we'll click that and then click the flow logic. We have a options called do following until. So we'll click that. Okay. Here, what is our logic? The logic is that the variable we created, right? So this is the asset count. This variable is we have created, and this variable will set here the value will set as a 0. So initially we'll set this variable value to 0. So go and then set flow variables, and then we'll click the plus sign. That variable we created called asset count will set as a 0. Okay, so this variable value is 0 we have set, and until this variable value is greater than, so this value is greater than the asset requested, we'll do the following until. So I'll delete this one again for your understanding. So I'll delete that. Let's delete that. So here I will click the plus sign, click the flow logic, and then I will do following until. I'll click that. What is the logic? The logic is that the flow variables asset count is greater than, less than the flow variable asset count. So you can see, less than, then I need to go to the get catalog item and this one. And if you see, this is a string variable, we need to convert to the integer. We'll click the fx, and here we'll go to the string and string to number, and then we'll apply that. So that's it. You can see it's applied. So what I am saying, that the flow variable, the initially I said the value is 0, and what I want to do that unless this flow variable count is less than this required asset required count, the flow or this logic should be run, or this should be run. Okay, so that's what I'm asking. Okay, what I want to do, I want to first, the moment it comes here, I want to increase the variables value. So I'll click the flow logic, and then I'll select that set flow variables, and then plus, and then I will increase that. So I'll click the asset count, and what should be the asset count? Asset count should be the previous asset count. So I'll select the flow variable asset count, and then I'll click the fx again, and then I will go to the math, add what number I want to add. I want to increment that, so I'll put the 1 and then apply. That's it. So first thing is that the moment it comes to here, in the do until, I'll just increase the 1 count, and then I will create an asset. To creating the record, will go here and then click the create record. What record I want to create? I want to create an asset. So we'll select that asset table. So let's say that ALM asset table. And what are the fields mandatory into the ALM asset? And go to this all asset and create a new, let's say that hardware. So you can see we can select the ALM hardware table itself directly, and then let's say that model, category, model, these two are mandatory. I can see these two, we need to be select that. Let's go back to our flow designer. I'll change these to hardware table, and here we do have mandatory call model, category, and model. Let's pick that. So model, category, model, I'll select that any model, for example, and model category, I'll select that application. And here in this asset tag, we'll put that flow logic number. So what I'll do, in that asset tag, I will put this variables value like count 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. So I'll get this flow variable and then asset count. I'll put that. Okay. So let's understand in an overview what we are going to do. That the first thing is that I will order this catalog item. The moment I order that, this flow should be triggered. So the moment we order that, this flow should be triggered. The first thing is that it should get this catalog variables. We'll go and grab all this catalog variable. Then we have created a flow variable. That flow variable will set that 0. Next, we'll go for the manager approval. So we go for the manager approval. The moment manager approves that, we'll create two catalog tasks, one for hardware and one for software. Once these two are done, we'll run a flow logic, or we'll do a you can say the for loop kind of things, where we'll first check that flow variable, which is nothing but 0, is less than this catalog. Let's say that 5, somebody required for 5, is less than this one or not. Yes, it is less than that. So first we'll increment that and then we'll create a hardware record. Let's say somebody click the 5 or put the 5, it will do until the 5 record got created. So let's activate that. So I'll just activate that. Go back to this catalog item. I'll go back to this catalog item and select this flow 2 and let's order that and see how it works. So I'll open this catalog item and then first set this flow there. So as set requested, this is the flow name. I'm going to set into this process engine now. Instead of this workflow, we are going to use that flow. Okay, and save that. Two more thing I just want to add, that we want to add the stages. So let's say that here in this case, the stage should be, I'll click the add stage, ask for approval. Before that ask for approval, the stage should be waiting for approval. So we'll select that. So we need to first include these stages. So we'll go and then click the flow stages, and here from that we'll select the request item stages and add stages. So you can see all these stages are added. We'll save that and then go for this ask for approval top, and then we'll add this stage. So let's hover that. Add stage. Here we are waiting for approval. We'll select that. And in this case, what will be our stage? The stage will be for fulfillment. We'll select that fulfillment stage like that. So we'll just activate that and go back to this catalog item. In this catalog item, we selected the flow logic. Let's try that. If you notice that in this flow designer, we have not write any single line of code. Let's say that I ask for that five asset and I click the order now. So it's generate a RITM, and if you go back to the flow designer, go to the execution, you should be able to see that our flow should be picked. So you can see asset requested is picked, and if I open that, it should be wait for our, you can see the manager approval. So it's manager approval waiting. So if I open that, you can see it's generate a manager approval. For this case, we don't write any single line of code to generate the manager approval. Let's say that I approve that. So the moment I approve that, it should generate 2 catalog tasks. So go back to this RITM and go to this flow logic, flow design, and refresh that. You can see it's generate that 2 catalog tasks, one for hardware, one for software. Go back here, and if you see 2 tasks generated, one for hardware, one for software. For example, I'm closing that software one. So I completed the software one. And if you go back to the flow designer and refresh that, you can see the software one is completed. Hardware one is still waiting. Now you can see until unless I have completed these 2 branches, separate branches, the new this step number 9 is not going like this workflow, right? Until unless we completed these 2, it is waiting for these steps. So let's go back and close this hardware one. So I'll close this hardware task. If you see that right now we are in fulfillment stage. So our you can see hardware 2 is completed. Let's go and refresh that. So we'll refresh that. If you see in the top, you can see that loop run once, that I have made mistake here because it's saying that until. So I need to select that until the flow variable is greater than this asset count. So let's update that. So I'll just update that, call greater than, and then just activate and quickly order that catalog item. So now if you see that do the following count is 6, means that this for loop runs 6 times. This loop runs 6 times and it create 6 asset record. Let's go back to this asset table. I'll go and hardware asset table and add the created field. Do jet to a. You can see I have created that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All these I have recently created through that flow only. So this way you can do for loop. You can use the until. I just give you an example for your case, but you can put more logic whatever you want. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone. This is the day 11 of the Flow Designer training. In this day, we'll talk about that decision table or the decision builder. So decision builder is available for multiple purpose, but we are going to discuss about Flow Designer point of view. So first we have to talk about that what is the Flow Designer decision builder, and then we'll discuss further. So in the Flow Designer decision builder, that helps you to make perfect decision based on certain inputs. So let's understand a example. Let's say that you have a asset type called laptop and then desktop, and then you have another field called manufacturer, and that is a Apple and then HP. So you have a manufacturer called Apple and HP, and you have a asset type called laptop and desktop. So based on combination of these two fields, there will be an output or result, and that will be based on this condition. Now, if you see this table, we have a asset type called laptop, and if the asset type is laptop and manufacturer is Apple, it will go for approval for hardware group. If it is a desktop and then manufacturer is Apple, it will again go for the hardware group. But if it is laptop and then manufacturer is HP, it will go for the hardware. But if it is in desktop and HP, the approval will go for the CAB approval. So this is based on these two inputs. So these two are input and this is a output, or we can say the result. So based on these two input, we have a output, or we can say the result. Now question is that, can we build through the if and else block? Yes, we can build that through the if and else block. But let's say that tomorrow they don't want hardware, they want to a CAB approval. What will be happen? We need to be update our flow, right? For that, we have to be update the flow. But if we build in a tabular format, we don't need to update our flow. We just need to be update this value in the table. So that's the reason ServiceNow came up with a concept called decision builder or decision table. So let's go back to the ServiceNow and see how we can build that. So this is the catalog item we have discussed earlier, like asset required, where we can put the 5 or 4 or 3. Based on that, it's supposed to create the asset. Now, here we want to build an additional thing called asset type, where we can select the laptop or desktop, and then manufacturer is Apple or HP. Based on that, it should go for additional approval, right? For that, we are going to build a decision builder, and that decision builder we are going to use in our flow. First thing is that how you can build the decision builder. To create a decision builder or table, you can type that decision builder. Here you can see under this decision management, we have another module, out of box module called decision builder, where we can create our decision builder table. So this is like a completely a table, custom table, like we created a table, but it's have some additional features ServiceNow provided to do through the UI. So you can create new decision table. Let's say we'll click that, and then I will put the table name called asset result, something like that. I'm just putting that, and then click create and continue. The moment we put that table name, we need to define that input and output parameter. So let's say what are the input? The first input is the asset type, and second input is that manufacturer, right? So we'll put that asset type, the first input. I'll copy that and then put the input name called asset type. What is the type? The type is the choice. And what are the value? That in this asset type we have a laptop and desktop. We'll select that laptop and desktop. So I'll put the laptop and desktop. So if you see that this L and D are in a small letter, but in our case L and D are capital. So I need to update their backend value. So I'll put this L in a capital and D in a capital. So this is our input. And then what is the another input? Another input is the manufacturer. We'll copy that manufacturer, select that. And then here, this is type also choice. So you can, depending on your use case, you can select that. And here we have, see what are the choice we have. The choice is the Apple and HP. So let's put that Apple and HP. So these are the choice, and again it needs to be updated. H and P is in capital and A is in capital. So I'll update that. A is in a capital and then H and P are in capital. So these two are our input parameter, right? And you can see that we have a decision table. So these are the input, and based on that we are going to put some output. So this is our result column and this is the conditional column. So if you see this diagram, we have a 4 row. You can see laptop, desktop, laptop, desktop, Apple, Apple, HP. Based on that, we have a result. So we have a 4 row. We need to be create similarly 4 row. Let's go back and build that. So here in this conditional block, we'll select the plus sign. What is the condition? The input, I will select that asset type. So I'll say that asset type. So if asset type is, I'll click done. So if asset type is a laptop, right? So if asset type is laptop and manufacturer is Apple, I want to make a decision, right? So this is the one condition. There will be another condition. So I'll click add condition column, and this time I'll say that manufacturer. So I'll say that manufacturer, and input is the manufacturer. Done. So if asset is a laptop, manufacturer is Apple, there should be a value that should be hardware group. So I'll click add result column. I need to create a result column. So let's say that approval group. So this is our result column. And this type of this approval group is a reference. We'll select that reference, and which table it is referencing, sys underscore user underscore group table. So we'll select that and click done. So now you can see that we have the table that you are seeing in our PPT. Similar type of structure we have created there in our ServiceNow. Now we have to put the data called laptop, Apple, then hardware. Like that we have to build that. So I'll select that value. So here I'll put that if laptop, asset type is laptop, and then manufacturer is Apple, what will be happen? The group will be hardware group. So we'll select that. So that is the first input. Now we can create another input. So we can click that plus sign. That's what we are saying that. And later, whenever we think that we need to be updated, we can just come and update that based on our condition. So we just updated this, our decision here. So this is our decision. And whenever we think that we need to be updated there, we just need to be updated here. We don't need to go to the flow and do update that. So this is our decision condition, and this is our result block. Now, if you see that if I order that, I should generate an additional approval. For that, we need to make some changes in our flow. So let's go back to the flow. So we'll go here and then type the flow designer. And we have created this flow or catalog flow earlier. So we are going to use that. If you have not watched my previous video, how I created this catalog flow, I would suggest that go and check that. So let me open this existing flow for this catalog item. So this is our catalog item flow called asset request that we have created earlier. And if you see this flow structure, you can see the first it will get catalog variable, then it will set for, and here it is setting that approval. So this is a manager approval. And after manager approval, we can generate a group approval. So I'll click that plus sign and then we'll click that action. And then here we can, go for, there is ask for approval, and then we can, generate a group approval, right? So we can generate a group approval. So we'll say that this is a group approval. Okay. Now in this group approval, we have to be select the records. We'll select that RITM, trigger record RITM. And now if I scroll down, I need to be select that the rule. So let's say that anyone approves from the group will be approval will be done. Now question is like who is going to be approved. So based on input, I need to be approved based on input and output. I need to be approved. For example, somebody selected laptop and somebody selected manufacturer is Apple. It should go for the hardware approval, right? So these things has to be built. For that, if you go back, we need to get this dynamic value approval, right? For that, what we can do, we can click this plus sign, and then here we can click this flow logic. Under the flow logic, we have a make a decision. So we can click this make a decision on this logic, and the moment we select the make a decision, we need to be select this the decision table. What is our decision table? The decision table is the asset result. So we can select this decision table here and select that. Okay. And here I can say that approval decision, or this is a decision level. We can put that called same thing called asset result. Now, if you see that there is a one option called, so if you see that we need two decision input, one is the asset type and another is a manufacturer. How do we get these two decision input? These two are actually that catalog item variable. So these two are catalog item variable. And if we click that asset type, get catalog variable, we can get that asset type. So we are going to map that. And similarly, I'm going to map that manufacturer. So we'll go and map that. Okay. So this is done. You can see there is a one checkbox called use branches. So this is checked by default. If you click OK, you can see that I should be able to get two branches, one result for hardware, another result for cab approval. So there is two branches. You can see there is a two combination of result. One is the hardware, another is the cab approval. For that, we get two branches. And then if we want to move this group approval here, like I can move here, or here we can copy and do certain action. So this is the one way we can create the branches. Automatically it create the branches, and then it can be here it created branches and it can be done. So this is the one option. So this is a decision table. Based on the decision, it will go by this one or this one. So we can do that. That's the one options. Else, if you want to merge that, what we can do, we can just uncheck this one here, use branches and done. So what will be happen? The branches did not created, but it will return some result that we can utilize. So we will go for ask for approval, and then what should be the value? Value should be come from make a decision and decision table record and decision result element. We can select that, and then we can select the approval groups. So what will be happen? This is not a, it did not created a branches, but actually it's working as a another set of approval, dynamic approval setting. So we'll get the result from the decision, and that result we are dynamically set that. Either you can use the branch or you can equally merge and do that. Okay, so we'll just add the stages called waiting for approval again. I'll say that stage is waiting for approval, and save and activate that. So let's understand one more time. We have added a decision, make a decision flow logic, which is we are pointing to this our decision table. So this is our asset result decision table, and these two are unique value. One is a cab approval, another is a hardware approval. Either we can use the branches or we can use that combination of the data that can return our data. So we are going to ask for approval, which is nothing but group approval. So this approval is a dynamic value, and that is coming from our decision table. Now we don't need to be update if we want to change this permission combination. We can simply update in this table, and that can affect our flow designer. So let's raise a request and see that. For example, we are raising the laptop and Apple, it should generate a hardware approval. Let's see. So we just need to be refresh that. We'll select that asset required 5, and then as per the rule laptop Apple, it should go for the hardware. So we'll select the laptop Apple order. So it should go for hardware. So first it will go for the manager approval, and then it will go for the group approval. So let's see. First it go for the manager approval. I'll approve that, and it should go for the group approval secondly. And you can see it's generate the group approval, hardware group. So this is how it works. Now if we raise a request called desktop and HP, it should go for the cab approval. Let's see. Now you can see it's generate a cab approval based on this desktop HP. It's generate a cab approval. Now later, if you think that we need to be update this value, you can update that with this table. We don't need to unnecessarily update that actual flow. So we can just update this table and that can be affect our flow. So yeah, that way we can make a decision and we can implement that decision builder. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, I'm Rohit and this is the day 12 of the flow designer training. In this day we'll talk about the dynamic flow logic. In our flow designer, you have seen that many flow logic we have discussed like if, else, until, do, all those stuffs. But today we'll talk about the dynamic flow. So what is the dynamic flow? By seeing this name, you can understand that dynamic flow means that we can pick the flow dynamically. So when we create a flow, right, from the flow, we can directly call a subflow depending on the fixed subflow. Basically, we can call the that from the flow, we can directly call the subflow. But with the help of dynamic flow logic, we can actually call a flow dynamically on the runtime. So on the runtime, we can decide that which flow, this flow or this flow we should pick runtime based on the situation. That we call the dynamic flow. In the dynamic flow, we have a very specific called flow templates. We have to be create a flow template or the template subflow or flow, and after that we can define that specific flow. So first we are going to create a template, and then template will have number of inputs. So these are the for one template there will be a 1 or 2 or 3 template, and then we can create a specific flow called S1, S2 with the copy of this template, and we can define a number of action. Like here it can have 3 action, and then for this action, this specific situation there could be 2 action. So there will be one main subflow called template, and then that will have number of input. These are maybe 3. Similar number of input has to be present on S1 or S2, which is the situation based template or scenario based template. There will be a similar number of inputs, but their actions can be different, right? So for example, for one subflow or one flow, there will be multiple things is going to happen, but another subflow there will be different scenario can be happen. So let me go back to the service and show you that how it can actually works. So this is the catalog item. That catalog item we are using past few sessions, and in this catalog item we already have defined a flow. You can see this is the flow we have created in last video. So if you have not watched my last video, I suggest that go and watch that previous video. From there we are going to build something. So let's click the try it on this catalog item. So if you see that this catalog item, there will be a asset type called laptop and desktop, and there is a manufacturer called Apple and HP. So now let's say that somebody raised a request with the manufacturer called HP or Apple. Based on their selection, HP or Apple, the flow should be picked. So the main flow will be there, but as well as that there will be a subflow based on this selection, the manufacturer selection. There will be a subflow, and this subflow will have various capacity, maybe integration, maybe sending notification, all those stuffs, but we don't know at the moment. But we can actually dynamically pick the the subflow. That is our main concept today, or that is our main focus today. So based on this selection, we are going to select dynamic flow. So let's go back to the flow designer and open these this main flow called asset requested, this main flow. In this flow designer, we have built this asset requested this flow earlier in our earlier video, like past video. Here there are many things we are doing. Let's say that we are doing the manager approval, then we have a decision builder. We have built the decision builder, right? And based on the decision builder, we are doing something, right? So whatever we are thinking. After manager approval, what I need to have a separate thing called separate subflow. I'm going to call that, and that is going to be dynamically. So if I click plus sign, if I click the flow, and I can select a specific flow call, let's say that ABC or any specific flow, but I don't have any opportunity to based on this value. Let's say that somebody selected the manufacturer Apple or laptop. Based on that, I don't have opportunity to select subflow. Yes, you can put that if and else block. Like here you can put that if the manufacturer is HP, you can put this block, else, like that. But let's say that there are 10 or 20 or 30. Are you going to put the 10, 30 block? No, you are not going to build that, right? For that, we can dynamically actually call our subflow. Okay, so let's do that. The first thing first, we are going to build a subflow. As I mentioned, that first we need to build a template. So I'll create a new subflow. I'll click the subflow, and let's say that put the first I said the template subflow we need to be built. So I'll select this template, then colon, and then I'm going to say that asset requested. So this is our first subflow. I'm going to click submit. And as I mentioned that this template subflow input and output is going to be same for actual subflow. So I'm going to click that. Let's say that I'm going to put that name anything. So let's say that I'm going to put here call. I'll take this value called asset required. So this input. Okay, so maybe I need that one. So I'll go here and then I'm going to create a new input called asset required. Okay, and this is might be integer. I am selecting that. Okay, so this is my subflow, actual subflow. I have built that, the template subflow, and now I have based on these like manufacturer or based on this I'm going to build a do some actions, right? So let's build that. The first subflow I am going to pick that call. I'm going to create a first subflow. So first for that I'll copy this subflow. I'll click copy subflow, and what should be the name of this subflow? I'll say that the template asset requested, then colon, then I'll create one for Apple, one for HP. So I'll go here, and then this is for Apple. I'll copy, and one another for I'll copy, or maybe I'll go here and then copy another subflow call for HP. This will be the HP. Okay, so right now we have three subflow. One is the template subflow, main subflow. This is the actually the Apple subflow. If you see, their input are same, and this is the HP subflow. So depending on that actual user input, we are going to pick any of these two, and this is our template one actually. This is our standard template one. So let's go back here in this flow logic, and here we can go to this get catalog variable. You can click here, then we can go to the flow logic, and then we can select that dynamic flow. You can select that. So first we need to select the template flow. So let's start with that. Our subflow template flow name is template colon asset requested. Let's start there. You can see that I'm not able to find out because this subflow does not have any activity and it's not yet published. So let's put that, for example, I'll put that log. So I'll go and put the logs here. I'll do the same thing for the rest of these two. So I'll go. So publish that. So these three subflow is right now published. Now if we go back here in the main flow, now let's refresh this tab one more time and go up here on the dynamic flow. So first I'm going to select that template. What is the template? Our main template is called template asset requested. So this is our main flow, and the moment you selected the template, you can see the input parameter where we need which input we are going to pass that. So we are going to pass this asset required. So let's say that I'm going to get this asset required from this catalog variable. I'm going to pass that, and here this is a string field. We need to be pass the string name, right? So for that, what I'll do here, I'll go back and let's say this one, right? So what is this naming structure? So this is our actual the template, and here these things is a dynamic. It should be Apple or maybe it should be HP. We don't know. So this is a dynamic, right? So we'll go back here under this case. Put this is a string after this page, and there should be this value should be come from the variable. So asset type. So actual name will be template colon asset requested dash, and this will be actually our HP or Apple. This will come like that. So let's save that. Let's check one more time. I'll put this wait for completion and activate that. So what will be happen? Until unless this dynamic flow or subflow is completed, it will be wait, and then after that it will go for further process. So in this catalog item, you can see that I have asset required count. So let's put that something called 5, and then asset type I'm going to put the laptop, and this is the important field called manufacturer. Based on this manufacturer selection, Apple or HP, it is going to call dynamically that Apple subflow or HP subflow. Let's put that Apple one and then order that. The moment we order that, it should trigger our subflow. So go back to the flow designer, go to the execution first. So I'll go to the execution. So you can see that the first I'm going to get that called asset requested, and it's in an error state. Let me open that. The error we got in that called asset requested one. So let's open that. What error we got actually? The error we got that called template asset requested dash. Then we got the value equal to laptop, because I think I have mapped wrong field. The field should be, if I go back to the flow designer, and here I said that asset type, but it should not be asset type. It should be actually go to this catalog item and the manufacturer. That is the wrong thing I have done. So let's activate again and try one more time. Now go back and raise one more request quickly. This time I have selected the manufacturer is HP and ordered that. Now go back to the flow designer, go to the execution, and let's see. Yes, you can see that the asset requested is in progress and template asset requested HP dynamically called. So if I open this one, you can see the dynamic asset requested, this dynamic flow is called, and this is the template name, and then during this process it's generate the flow name called template asset requested dash HP, which actually call our dynamic flow. So this way you can dynamically call your flow. But yes, we could have done that through that if and else block. Instead of this one, I could have put that one if block, like if here in this if block, like if this asset type is called get variable, manufacturer is Apple, I can put this one. But in that case, if it is a too big like 10 20, it was not possible for me, right? So I could have done like this way also. I mean, if it is a simple one or two if block, you can put that, otherwise you can use the dynamic flow logic. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in my comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone, this is the day 13 of the Flow Designer training. In this day we'll talk about that important actions available in out of box in the Flow Designer. So before we are going to create a new or custom actions for ourselves, we are going to discuss about the some out of box actions that are available in the ServiceNow that we can utilize before we are creating our own custom action. So let's discuss about all these out of box actions available in out of box. The first action is out of box available for ask for approval. This action we already implemented in our previous class, that ask for approval actually generate approval for particular task or maybe particular record, maybe for incident, maybe for problem or change. Even for that item we can generate approval. It can be generate user approval, or maybe can be generate for the group approval. For both the cases we can use that ask for approval actions. Our next action name is called create record or update record. We already use this create record or update record in our earlier classes. With the help of create or update record actions, we can actually create particular record, maybe incident record we can create that, or maybe we can update that particular record in our system. Next we have that lookup records. So with the help of lookup records, we can actually find out or we can query to particular record. So lookup record help us to find out only one record, and there is one more actions available called lookups. With the help of lookups record, we can actually find out multiple record, maybe all the incident which parent is particular one incident, and then we can use the for each loop and then we can update that. So these actions also we have discussed in our earlier class. Next, this action we have not discussed or we have not actually implement our previous class called delete record. With the help of delete record, basically we can delete particular record. Okay, so maybe if we want to delete particular logs, particular incident or anything, we can use that delete record. Next, the very important called wait for condition actions. With the help of wait for condition actions, we can wait or we can hold the flow for particular time until unless that situation occur. Maybe this flow will be hold or wait condition until unless the change move to the implementation state. We already implemented that scenario in our previous session. So if you have not watched that, you can watch that. Next thing is that send email or send SMS. The send email or send SMS help us to sending the particular emails to the actual user. These already implemented in our earlier classes. This can help you to actually sending the SMS or sending the email to particular user. Now here you will be able to see that there is one called send email and another is called send notification. So what is the difference between send email and send notification? So in the send email actually send email from directly from the flow. So it will send the email directly from that flow. But if you use the send notification, it will trigger the notification, and with the help of notification, whatever the subject line will be defined under the notification, whatever body will be the recipient will be there in the notification, that they will get a notification. The sent notification, the purpose or the use case is that you can use multiple content. You don't need to put the body, you don't need to define the recipient every time. You can use a reusable component, you can use that in your flow. But send SMS, if you use that every time, you need to set the body, you need to send that you know recipient, all these stuffs. There is some pros and cons that maybe we can discuss in further, but we have both the actions available in our system. Both are actually used to sending the notification. Now we have a log actions. With the help of log action, we can actually create or generate a system log that can store the data in our syslog table. Now we have here called get catalog variable. With the help of get catalog variable, we can get the catalog item variable. So this is specifically for catalog item flow, where we are ordering a catalog item. If you want to check that some catalog item variables value, we can use that get catalog variable. Again, this action we have implemented in our some classes, previous classes. Next, we have a create catalog task. With the create catalog task, we can actually generate the catalog task like we have in the flow the call generate catalog task in that workflow. Similarly, we have a create catalog task. With the help of that, we can create a catalog task. We can set some assignment group assigned to some field value, and then even we can add the variables whatever we needed. Now we have a copy attachment. With the help of copy attachment, we can copy one attachment from one record to the another record. I already implemented that in our previous session, so that can help. Maybe if you want to copy some attachment from incident table to that another incident record, you can do that. Next, this one we have not implemented, called submit catalog item. With the help of these actions, we can actually submit a catalog item from that workflow itself or from the flow itself. Based on the certain condition, we can put that, and then based on that, it can actually submit a catalog item directly from the flow itself. Okay. So these are the important actions are available out of box in our flow designer. We can use that based on our use cases wherever we need it. And if all these actions or whatever out of box actions they are provided by ServiceNow is not matches, then you can go for the custom actions creation. Our next session will talk about that custom action, how we can create the custom actions and where we can implement that. That thing we'll talk about in our upcoming class. So till the time, that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Hello everyone. This is the day 14 of the flow designer training. In this day, we'll talk about that how we can create a custom action. So in this day, first we are going to create a custom action. So let's understand the situation, on which situation we are going to build the custom action. The first scenario is that we are going to create an incident, and then incident will be moved to the resolve state. The moment it moves to the resolve state, it will generate a PDF, and that PDF will be attached to the incident record. So this is our scenario that we are going to build that. Now generating a PDF, there is no actions available in our flow designer out of box to generate a PDF file. For that reason, what we are going to do that we are going to build or we are going to create our custom action. That custom action is going to be generate the PDF and attach that to our incident table. So let's go to the ServiceNow and build that. So this is our ServiceNow instance, and in this ServiceNow instance, you can see that I have opened that PDF generation API. So this is the PDF generation API document, and in this PDF generation API document have a lot of documentation. So what I actually did that I opened this document and I have actually copied this whole code and pasted into that our background script. So let me tell you that what it actually does. So this is the PDF generation API out of box available in our system. We can query to the particular table. I'm going to query to the incident table, and then I'm actually generating a HTML. Okay, so let me go back to the incident table first. So I am opening this incident table and I'll open this incident. In this incident, you can see that this is an incident record and this have some description. Now what I want actually, I want to generate this incident as a PDF. Okay, so there could be different reason to create our own custom action. So for our reason is that for generating a PDF purpose, I'm building these actions. So what I'll do actually, I'll copy this sysID and then paste to that background script. Okay. So what it will do that it will query to the incident table, particular incident. This is the incident, and what I'll actually do that it will generate a HTML for that. Okay, so it will generate a HTML, and that HTML is actually going to be converted to a PDF, and that will be attached in here in this particular record. So for example, if I say that here call short description colon and then like that. So what will actually do that it will actually, if I run that, it will be create a PDF, and that PDF is going to be attached to this incident. Let's run that, and you can see that it's actually attached a document to the particular incident, and after it is attached, it is giving me this attachment sysID, and you can see that it's giving me that conversation is successful, and then it is giving that request ID and the status. So there are a lot of information they are passing, right? And if I refresh that incident, it will have there is one PDF attached, and that if I click that, it will download and I can open and I can see that this PDF called short description, and this is the short description, it is attached, right? Now in this case, maybe what I want actually, I want to create an incident, and then the moment incident resolve that, it should attach the document or this kind of document to this particular incident. How I can do that? I can go and create a business rule, and with the help of business rule, I can put this code to the business rule. It will generate a document for me and attach that, right? But the same scenario or same thing I want to achieve through our flow designer. How we can do that? This is not only for the incident, it could be implement for change, it could be implement for other places. So that's the reason I want to build in a flow designer, so that flow designer can generate a attachment. For that reason, we are going to open the flow designer. I'm just giving you the example, so to make you sure that how you can create the custom action. For that reason, I'm just showing you. So first thing is that we have to create a flow to attach or to run that, right? So what I'll do, I'll click here, click flow, and let's say that incident, something like that, and then I'll select the system and then submit that. So this is the flow that we are going to run that. When we are going to run that, we are going to run on that update on that incident table. So I'll select the table equal to incident. And then what is the filter? Whenever the state changes to the resolve, for example, state changes to resolve. So whenever the incident state changes will be resolved, at that moment the flow will be initiated, and then I want to what action I want to do? I want to generate a PDF. So I'll search with the PDF, and you can see there is no such actions available. For that reason, we are going to create our own action, and that action we are going to use that. So I'll click this plus sign first, and then this time I'll click this action. Previously we created the flow, we created the subflow. We're going to build the action now. I'll click this plus sign, and here I need to put the action name. What should be the action name? Let's say that PDF generation. All right, and you can put the annotation, description, whatever you think. I'm not putting that. So submit that. The moment you created that actions, you can see this showing that PDF generation action name. You can rename that later. Now we have an input parameter, so we can take the input. So if you see that in this code, what are the input parameter? The first input parameter is that which record I need to query, on which table I need to be query, right? And secondly, what should be the PDF name? So these are the three variables, things probably we need that. Later we can add more. So I'll first create input. So let's say that I need the table name. So this is a string field and that is a mandatory. Next input parameter is the sys ID. I need that sys ID. So I'll put that ID to not make the conflict, and then we need that attachment name. Okay, that is also mandatory. Three fields or three input we needed as a mandatory, and then based on that it will generate a attachment. Then I'll click this plus sign. Here you can see a lot of actions or a lot of activity is there, for which purpose you are building that. For example, you can see you can ask for approval, you can create a record or update record, you can create the task, delete multiple tasks. So our purpose is the writing the script. So mainly, because these actions are already available out of box in our flow, we can directly drag and there show that. So I will go there and then I'll directly pick that called script one. Okay, so in the script we can actually use that scripting, or we can actually do the scripting here. Okay, here you can see that we have a options called which type of script we are doing. We are writing the instance script or mid server script or core JavaScript, whatever is your preference. I'm going to run that instance script. Now here in the script we have another thing called input variable. So this is the input we get, and here we are going to, in the script we need to again create three input. So we'll click the plus, and then let's say that I am going to take that call. First is that ID. This is first parameter. Second parameter is the table, and third parameter is that name, PDF name. So these are the three parameter. Okay, in this script. Now this input should be mapped. This input should be mapped from this input whenever the first time we take the input. So this input and this input are different. So this input actually for your action input. So we need to be mapped there. So we'll go and then map there. So ID equal to this ID, then table equal to this table. I'll map that. And then attachment equal to this attachment name. So what will be happen whenever we are trying to use this action? There will be three input which is mandatory, which is here showing the mandatory, and these inputs are we are actually mapping to your script input. So in this script we have created three inputs called ID, table and name. Now what is the next step? We are going to copy this whole code. I'm going to copy this whole code and then paste here into this code here in this area. Okay, now here we need to have the table name, right? So we need to pass the table name. What is the table name? We have already built a parameter. For that I'll go here and then instead of directly hard coded, we'll put that inputs dot and then we'll put the table. Okay, so this is a variable name called table, so we are going to use that. Next, this is the sys ID. So this is hard coded. Instead of that, we'll put that input dot, here we'll pick that our ID. So this one will use that. And next here the table name, instead of table name, what we'll do, this is not also we are going to dynamically do that. So we'll put the inputs dot table and this is the inputs dot ID. Instead of, we'll copy this one and just paste that. Now last one is the file name, right? So we'll replace that and say that inputs dot name. So this is our, it's done. Now if you see that the moment we actually run that, it's giving that attachment sysID and then it's giving the status. Attachment sysID is that sysID and then status, right? So we can create two output parameter, output variable for the script. So we click this output variable. The first output variable is the attachment ID. Okay, this is a string. Another output variable is that status. Okay, and this could be choice. We can select the choice. The first value is that maybe the fill, and this will be our default value, and second value will be the success. So we'll pick that. So this is the second value. So we created these two choices. Okay, so we'll minimize that, and then here what I'll do, I will map that. So you can see whenever we started this block, it started with the inputs and then outputs. So we'll map that outputs. So we'll say that outputs dot, what is our variable name? So we created that variable called attachment ID. So we'll copy this variable here, and then outputs dot, we'll get the result in a JSON format. So we'll put that result dot attachment ID. This is the variable name. Next we have another variable. So outputs dot status. This is another variable, and we are going to map that with that result dot with this JSON. Okay, so this way we actually able to map that input and output for the script. Now these input and this output are actions input and action output, and this input, you remember that. So these inputs, you can see this is the script input and this is the script output. Now I'll go back here, and then this is the actions output. We are going to create that actions output. First is the status. This time I'm going to put that status name. Also type, we can put the choice or a string. I'll say that it's string. I'm not doing anything. And then I'll create another output called attachment ID. And then I'll click the exit edit mode. So now you can see there are two values, status and attachment ID. I can map that. From where I map that, I'll go that status and map from the script. There is a one output called status, so I'll map there, and then attachment ID, I'll map the script, and then attachment ID. So remember that these input and these output are the action input and output, and this script have a input and output, separate input and output, so we can map there. Let's save that and test that. So this has been saved. Now we'll go back to this incident, and first I'll remove all this attachment here, and then I'll copy this sysID, incident sysID. I'll copy this one, and now go back to our flow designer and click the test to test this action. The first table name, so we know the table name is incident, ID is the sysID, and let's say that attachment name is the test, and click the run test. The moment we click the run test, it's executed that our script, and everything is done. We can refresh the incident, and you can see that the attachment attached to this particular incident. Now if we click here, this PDF is downloaded. You can see that PDF. Okay, so this action is done. So what we can do, we can publish this action. So we'll click that publish and publish. Now this action can be used. You can use this action directly to your UI action, or else you can go to this flow again, simply save that and refresh the screen. So I'll just refresh that, and then I'll go and actions, and here I can search that called PDF generation action. So you can click that, and then here in this table name we can put that called trigger record table name. We can put that here called CID, and the document name called, we can put the incident number. Along with that start time, we can put that. Okay, so what will be happen, the moment incident state changes to that resolve, it will generate a PDF and attach that. So let's activate that and run that. Now this action is I used in incident. I can use this action to that change. I can use this action to various places wherever I need it actually. So let's go back and create an incident. So I'm going to create an incident first. And save that. So this is the first incident created. Now the moment we resolve that, our flow should be initiated, and then it should generate a PDF, and that PDF should be attached here through the flow and then action. So let's change this to the resolve, and then we put that resolution code, resolution note, and save that. The moment we save that, it should generate our flow. So if I go back to flow and go to the execution, you can see the PDF generation. This is a action which is I just tested earlier 3 minutes ago. Now if I save that, it should first call to our flow. So you just save that, and if we go back to the flow designer and refresh that, you can see it's actually pick that incident generate PDF at resolve. That flow picked that, and then it should call our action. So if I open that, it's called our PDF generation action, and it should attach a PDF. So let's refresh that. It should attach a PDF. You can see it is attached a PDF with the time, and if you click that, it will be downloaded, and you can see that PDF document, testing short description. So this way, basically, you can create your own actions, and that actions can be used in your flow. There could be a complex action. I just show you that for demonstration purpose. I just show you that you can create your action. You can write the code, and in these actions you can add multiple steps also. So if you see this action, the first, if I show you that. So first it have a script. Secondly, again, you can do whatever things you needed, like you can go for approval, or you can create a separate script also. So you can do that multiple things here. So it's not like bound for one script. So this is for one script. You can do for SMS. We can create another script. You can do the integration also. We'll discuss that in our integration hub class, but you can do a lot of things here. Okay. So that's it for today. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Thank you very much. Have a great day.